Park, the Dodgers, a winner last night. Today they try and keep the good times coming. It is getaway day in Philadelphia. Dodgers and Phillies finishing off their three-game series. Hello, everyone, and welcome, and good morning to you folks back in Los Angeles. Alongside my partner, Steve Lyons, my name is Eric Collins, and, well, yesterday the Dodgers pounding out some frustration. They got 14 base hits against Phillies pitchers, and win going away, 9-2 the final score. Randy Wolf gets the victory. Yeah, after losing 4 out of 5 games, we thought that Jamie Moyer might be the guy that would get them on the right track. He's a guy that throws a lot of pitches out of the strike zone, but this Dodger offense is very patient. They waited for balls out over the middle of the plate, and then they whacked him around pretty good. Well, today, the Dodgers will try and take it 2 in a row and take the series against Philadelphia. They'll send Chad Billingsley to the bump, and, well, Chad Billingsley, he's got some issues to deal with in Philadelphia. Lost to him twice last year in the postseason. Yes, he did, and that was after being 16-10 on the year. He was really emerging as the ace of that staff, and then Game 2 and Game 5 he really stumbled, but he was unable to control the outer half of the plate. That's what he likes to do, and he was devastating against right-handed pitchers, but lefties got to him and got to him in a big way in those Games 2 and 5 of the playoffs. He ended up giving up 2 hits to the opposing pitcher Brett Myers, 3 hits in total in that game. That chased him. Well, at least so far in the season, Chad Billingsley doesn't seem to be any worse for the wear. Today he's got a chance to become the first 6-game winner in the National League. Well, Chad talked a lot about how that was a great learning experience for him, and I think what he has now is different weapons. He will come in hard against left-handed hitters. He didn't do that in the past, so I think Philly hitters right now will see a different Chad Billingsley than what they saw in the playoffs last year. All right, we're going to see 2 of the best young pitchers in all of baseball. Chad Billingsley getting the ball for Joe Torre's team. He'll face off against Cole Hamels and the Phillies. First pitch is next. Dodger Baseball on Prime Ticket is brought to you by the Kentucky Bourbon $6 Burger with bacon, bourbon glaze, and crispy onion straws. New at Carl's Jr. By your Southern California Ford dealers and the new Ford Advantage plan. By Aflac, we've got you under our wing. And by Southwest Airlines. Low fares with no hidden fees. Book now at southwest.com, where what you see is what you pay. Welcome, everyone, to Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. Today's game is presented in high definition by Time Warner Cable. The Dodgers, the best record in all of baseball, currently 4 games ahead of San Francisco in the NL West. Trying to take the series here at Citizens Bank Park against the Philadelphia Phillies. Southwest Dodgers batting order coming your way. Dodgers still leading the National League in batting average, on base percentage, and runs scored. Juan Pierre, Rafael Furcal, Orlando Hudson, the top 3. Andre Ethier, Russell Martin, and then James Loney, the middle third. James Loney had some big blows yesterday. 4 runs batted in, including a 3-run home run, his first home run of the season. Matt Kemp follows him up, Casey Blake, and Chad Billingsley hits in the number 9 spot. Chad making his 8th start of the season, facing off against Cole Hamels. Well, when you look at the numbers of Cole Hamels, not that impressive so far for a guy who was just dominating in the playoffs last year. The ERA up over 6, but he's had some weird things happen to him. He had his best start last time out against Atlanta. He went 6 innings, gave up just 3 hits. He got the win in that game, but he had a start against Washington earlier when he only went 4 1/3 because he twisted his ankle. His start before that in Milwaukee was throwing the ball well, went 3 1/3 because Prince Fielder hit a line drive off his shoulder and had to come out of the game. First pitch of the day is called strike 1. 92 miles an hour underneath the elbows for Juan Pierre. Hamels is a guy that throws a fastball, curveball, and a great changeup. This one misses a whisker inside. Cole Hamels, the MVP of not only the NLCS, but also the MVP of the World Series. He won Game 1 in all 3 rounds of the postseason a year ago for Philadelphia. The National League Divisional Series, the National League Championship Series, and the World Series. Well, the Phillies had the luxury of being able to set up their starting rotation for every series they played in. On the ground, Utley throws out Juan Pierre, 1 down. So with 1 down, Rafael Furcal will grab a bat. Rafi had a solid start to the game yesterday. Went 2 for 2 in his first 2 times up, including a double. That double ignited that fourth inning where the Dodgers scored 5 times. They scored 5 times in the fourth inning, 2 times in the fifth inning, and that was really all she wrote. The Dodgers winning going away 9-2, the final score.
Well, it's pretty well known that Manny Ramirez is one of Rafi's best friends on this ball club. After he left the team, Rafi went into a little bit of a tailspin. He was 2 for 20 before those 2 doubles.
And he's broken out of it in a big way. Line drive single into center field. First base runner on for the Dodgers.
Got a phone call from Manny who said, hey, you got to be a little more selective and relax up there. You're being way too aggressive. Be patient, wait for your pitch and hit it. And that's what he's been doing after that phone call. A couple doubles last night. Now starts off tonight with a liner up the middle.
That's all it takes, huh?
I want Manny to call me.
So good speed on at first base, and Orlando Hudson steps into the right-handed batter's box. The O-Dogs had a good series, 5 for 8 so far in the first 2 games, a couple of doubles. Got the batting average up to .348. A pair of second basemen tied for the lead in the National League in doubles, Orlando Hudson and Pittsburgh's Freddie Sanchez with 14 two-base hits.
Orlando Hudson, over his last 15 hits, 8 of those hits have been doubles.
Got himself a good hitter's count here. 2 balls, no strikes.
Hudson's had far fewer at-bats. Hitting from the right side, about a third of his at-bats have come from that side, but hitting .367 as a right-handed hitter.
I think they may have fooled Ryan Howard to throw to first base.
Yeah, may have thrown him a little slider over there. Howard's been having trouble hitting him, and he almost didn't catch one.
Rafi with 3 steals on the year. Gets a decent lead, not going anywhere. Pitch misses upstairs. It's now 3-0 to Orlando Hudson.
Eric, what do you think of those cream-colored home uniforms for the Phillies? The Phillies are quickly becoming one of those teams that have more different uniform combinations than almost any other team out there.
There's a strike. I love those uniforms. I think the cream is fantastic. I think it was the San Francisco Giants that were the first team to bring the cream back. It's something that was a lot of teams had back years ago.
With the old Woolies.
Little flipper. First base side. That'll make it into the grandstands on a hop. Do you like them?
Yeah, I like this a little better than the San Francisco one because this is closer to white. San Francisco is creamier cream if you'll go there, and I guess the other thing is it doesn't have a Giants name on the front of it. Yeah, they have a bunch of. I tell you the truth, I like the old Philly uniforms with the heather blue and the crimson.
Oh, the Mike Schmidt uniform.
Oh, when Schmidt hit his 500th, that uniform, awesome.
You pull my leg, or you really like them?
Loved them. Zipper front. Those were sweet.
Okay.
Phillies went away from that red and turned it into more of a traditional red that they're wearing now. A lot of teams, you look at the Milwaukee Brewers that went from the old logo they had, which was the MB in the shape of a glove and the blue and yellow. You go to see a Milwaukee game now, and there are more fans wearing the old stuff than they are wearing the new ones. The fans really have not been in favor of changing to the new uniforms.
There goes for a call again, and once again the 3-2 pitch is fouled back. So Rafi getting those legs worked out early in this game. I think the team that may have won the most uniform combinations is one of the teams that you played for. Chicago White Sox have been all over the board. They've been black and white. They've been that navy blue and red. They've had a light blue combination for a while in the 70s.
Pittsburgh Pirates, although they've always been the gold and black, at one point in time, I think it was late 70s, early 80s, they could literally have every player on the field wear a different uniform that they would at some point in time wear during that season. 9 different combinations that they could wear.
For call going again. Called strike 3. And this is going to be a chance for a double play. It is. Good defense played there. Strong throw by Chris Coast. Finds Utley, who throws it to Ryan Howard, and out number 3 recorded on the base pass. Home half of the first is next. Half inning in the books here at Citizens Bank Park. Final game of this 3-game series, Dodgers and Phillies. Take a look at manager Charlie Manuel's lineup card. Jimmy Rollins, after a couple of games in the 5-hole, he's back leading things off for the Phils. Shane Victorino. Chase Utley moved down to the 3 spot. Ryan Howard hits 4th. Jason Worth now hits 5th. Raul Ibanez, Pedro Feliz, Carlos Ruiz, and Cole Hamels. That is your starting lineup for the Philadelphia Phillies. Currently 16-15 on the year, taking on Chad Billingsley.
Stellar numbers right there, making his 8th start of the season. He lost his last time out, believe it or not, to the San Francisco Giants. He went 7 innings in that one, gave up 8 hits, did walk 4 guys. In his past, Chad Billingsley does get himself in trouble if he does walk guys. He's got good enough stuff to throw the ball over the plate. Look for a different guy from last year's playoffs, especially against this Phillies team. He will throw harder in against left-handed hitters than he has in the past.
8th start on the season for the 24-year-old. His first pitch hit hard, fair by Jimmy Rollins. Extra bases for the shortstop. Rollins on his way to second. Now ball gets past Ethier, and Rollins is going to hang tight at second. Not sure what happened down in that corner, but for a moment it looked like Rollins had a chance for 3.
Now check out Jimmy Rollins just buggy whipping this one. That's a ball that's a little bit away from him. He went out and hooked it down the line. Clearly a fair ball. Now we'll get a good look with the ball girl running out of the way. The ball just skips almost underneath the padding there. Ethier did a nice job of corralling it, getting it back in. And Jimmy Rollins going with the red matching shades today. A little bit of a gold tint.
Runner on at second, nobody out. Shane Victorino thinks about a bunt. Instead, pulls it back. Ball 1.
Victorino saying that he got hit by that pitch. He's limping around trying to act like he got hit, but home plate umpire Jeff Nelson saying forget about it. Hey Shane, you know, we know you're 1 for your last 23, but we're not going to let you go to first base on that play. Let's take another look. Now, a lot of chalk on that ball, but I don't think any toes. You look at the starting lineup that's going up against Chad Billingsley right now for the Phillies. Could be very dangerous because they have not been swinging the bat well.
Bunt third base side. Billingsley only plays at first. Out recorded there. Sacrifice 1-3. Rollins now over at third.
Very nicely done right there by Victorino. Now, if you look at the starting lineup that's going up against Billingsley for this recent homestand that the Phillies have had, their entire starting lineup has been hitting a .168. It's a lot of 3 for 21s and 3 for 20s and 5 for 25s. A lot of guys not swinging the bat well. And sometimes you say, well, that's dangerous because these guys are ready to break out. You know they're good hitters.
And one of those guys is that man right there. Chase Utley is 0 for his last 12. He's 0 for 8 in this series. Whole lot of nothing. The kid from Long Beach Poly High School. Batting average down to .286. Still does have 10 home runs. That is tied for the team lead with Raul Ibanez. Takes first pitch fastball downstairs.
It's a guy that's not going to stay 0 for 12 very long. You're looking at a guy that's over the last few seasons finishes near the top of the voting for MVP every year now. Unfortunately, his teammates keep winning it.
Jimmy Rollins, Ryan Howard. I wonder about Chase Utley. He's just a phenomenal player. He's made multiple All-Star games. He's put up great numbers. But he plays half of his games here at Citizens Bank Park. Is this the type of ballpark where eventually down the road people are going to say, you know what, maybe it's kind of a Colorado Rockies type of deal, and they're not going to get, the players aren't going to get the type of respect for the numbers they put up as they would ordinarily?
I think there's a little bit of a consideration to that, but it's not the player's fault for where he plays. You know, the Phillies drafted him, got him in this organization. He can't, all he can do is play where he's supposed to play. Same thing with a guy like Todd Helton. Ask Aaron Rowan, who had his best year ever here, signed the big deal with the Giants. He's not going to put up anywhere close to the kind of numbers he had here in Philly, in San Francisco, but he still brings that grittiness.
3-0 pitch. Misses downstairs. So on 4 deliveries, Utley works the walk. Is that the old unintentional, intentional walk?
Well, Ryan Howard's a decent ground into double play guy, of course. He's also a guy that you can get a strikeout, but you're also flirting with danger when you put guys on in front of him. 2 guys on base now for Ryan Howard. Certainly a home run throw.
Howard off to a bit of a slow start for him power-wise. Just 6 home runs a month and a half into the season. Remember, he had 58 home runs just a couple of campaigns ago.
Ryan Howard leads this Phillies team grounding into double plays with 5.
Swing and a miss. Ball disappears underneath his bat. We've seen over the last couple of games the defensive shift that's played when Howard is at the plate with a runner on at first and at third. Can't have that drastic shift, but it is kind of rare seeing Raphael Furcal play shortstop right behind the bag at second.
No, it's clearly not as drastic a shift. One of the reasons with Rollins on third base, you can't just let him roam free over there, so you have to have Casey Blake over there keeping a little bit of an eye out on him. And generally, we've seen Raphael Furcal be over into that area when Howard came up, and I'm not so sure. I don't know why he isn't there right now. Maybe they've decided to go away from that drastic shift.
High drive. Center field, playable for Kemp. Makes the catch. Here comes Rollins. He will score the game's first run. So a double by Rollins, the sacrifice by Victorino, and now the sacrifice fly by Howard, and the Phillies have a 1-0 lead.
Now you got to try to limit the damage. Anytime you get a leadoff double to a guy like Jimmy Rollins who can run, obviously he's going to be able to move up to third on any ball, and he'll score on any fly ball. So if you can limit the damage to 1 run, you're doing yourself a favor. It's a big out early in this ball game right here against a guy like Jason Worth.
Worth was the star of the game on Tuesday, stealing 4 bases against the Dodgers, including a steal of home. Good fastball, poured it right past him.
At this point, with those 4 stolen bases that Worth had against the Dodgers the other night, he's far and away the team leader in stolen bases with 7. And when you have guys like Victorino and Rollins on this team, Chase Utley, another guy that can run, it's odd to see Worth be the guy that leads the team.
Just getting started here in Philadelphia. Final game of a 3-game series. Dodgers with that win yesterday against the Phillies. Won for the first time in this ballpark since 2007. They had lost 7 straight. That ball is hammered but foul. Oof.
A little bit of a break right there. That was one of the reasons why I said that this could be a huge out in this ball game, even though we're in the first inning. We're talking about getting Ryan Howard to pop up, even though it's a sacrifice fly and a run scored. You cannot relax in this situation because this ballpark is too conducive to home runs. So if you relax against a guy like Worth, it could be 3-0 in the first.
Ball and 2 strikes. After today's game, Chad Billingsley and the Dodgers will pack things up and head down to South Florida. 3-game weekend series with the Marlins.
Should go slider away right here. Get him to chase something down and away.
Didn't nibble.
That's the pitch.
2 balls and 2 strikes.
A lot of times Billingsley in that situation, if he doesn't get you to chase that slider, which was a good one, he'll come back with a fastball on that outer half, a ball that won't move off the plate. Another breaking ball there. Nice barehanded catch by a fan in the stands right in the front row. I always say bring your glove, but if you have hands like that, I guess you don't need one. Nicely done.
2 balls and 2 strikes. Swing and a miss. Strikeout for Billingsley. His first of the game, but the Phillies do scratch first. It's a 1-0 lead. Philadelphia on top of the Dodgers. Welcome back, everyone, to Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. Normally, the first inning is owned by the Dodgers. They lead in all of Major League Baseball in runs scored in the first frame, but they're not able to get on the board. Instead, it's the Phillies who score first. Jimmy Rollins a double, eventually coming around to score on a Ryan Howard sacrifice fly. So to the second we go.
Dodgers have scored 37 first inning runs in 35 games now. They didn't score in the first year. Been able to get off to a hot start in a lot of their ball games.
Yeah, Joe Torre says it makes all the difference in the world.
Well, it changes the way you play right away. It already puts your opponents on the defensive a little bit, knowing that they have to already play catch-up baseball, and then it makes your team relax, and the pitcher goes out there and knows he's already got a lead.
Andre Ethier will lead things off. It'll be Ethier, Martin, and Loney against Cole Hamels here in the second.
I'm actually a little bit surprised to see Andre Ethier in the lineup today, even though the ball club had a day off on Monday. Ethier's really been struggling. 3 for his last 31, and then having to face the tough lefty in Cole Hamels. Thought maybe he might get a rest. You might see someone else out there in right field.
Ball and 2 strikes. Yeah, this isn't your typical day game after a night game lineup. This is the same starting 8 of position players that we've seen each of the first 2 games of the series.
I think that has a lot to do with the fact that Monday was the off day, and Joe Torre figuring the starters don't need that much rest. They just had some rest.
Hit hard on the ground, but right to Ryan Howard, who decides to take it himself. Out number 1. Yeah, Dodger fans, Twitter is now the place to be if you want to know what's coming up on our broadcast. In the 3rd inning today, we're going to show you a couple of great plays from this series, and those of you following us on Twitter already know what those highlights are. So follow us all season long at twitter.com/Fox Sports West. You tweet.
I have my own account as well. Steve Lyons 2 can figure out what I'm doing all day long. I talked about a few of those highlights as well, so if you're on Twitter, you just get the information a little ahead of everyone else.
Russell Martin, his first at bat today, takes strike 1. Russell trying to do what James Loney did yesterday, get his first home run of the season. Hits this one hard. He'll have to settle for a single.
Now Russell Martin, even though the power numbers aren't there, I mean, he's on fire all of a sudden. He's 11 for his last 21. He's reached base in 19 of his last 29 plate appearances. So this is a different guy than we saw 10 days ago.
Time now for today's Lexus Pursuing Perfection, and it was last night's home run by James Loney.
I talked to James about it today. I said, James, you looked down because you didn't think you got all that one, did you? He goes, what do you mean, that ball that I crushed way back into the seats? I said, James, it landed in this first row. It's like, it doesn't matter. As long as it lands in the first row, that's good enough for anybody.
And what was significant about that home run, not just the fact that it was his first home run in 154 at-bats, but it was the fact that it was against a left-hander. 3 runs batted in against the left-hander, with an RBI single later in the game that gave him a grand total of 4 RBIs off of left-handed pitching. Those were his only 4 RBIs against left-handed pitching all season long, and that's almost a double play, but it's not. Russell Martin able to get back to the bag as the ball glances off the glove of Ryan Howard.
And Russell may have twisted the ankle a little bit. He's walking around a little gingerly. Generally, if the ball gets away from Ryan Howard, Russell would jump up and think about going to second. He has to scramble to get back. Jimmy Rollins stumbled a little bit. Now watch Russell Martin on the bag. It looked like his left ankle jammed a little bit, and that's why he's not up and running. He had to put on the brakes quickly as soon as Rollins made that play. The throw was off balance, but there's that left ankle just, oops. Went back to the base very awkwardly.
So 2 outs now. Matt Kemp swings and misses the first pitch from Cole Hamels. 82 miles per hour on that delivery.
Hamels grew up in Southern California. He grew up watching Trevor Hoffman, and he said that he studied Hoffman in the way he threw his changeup. And that was pretty much the model on how he built his own. And he's got one of the best changes in the game. So Hoffman's a pretty good guy to learn it from.
miles an hour on that fastball. And Kemp now up against it. A ball and 2 strikes.
Kemp has all 4 of his home runs against right-handed pitching.
There goes Russell. Swing and a miss. Stolen base attempt goes for naught. As Matt Kemp strikes out, that's the second strikeout by Dodger batters against Cole Hamels. Middle of the second. Bottom of the second here in Philadelphia. Phillies on top of the Dodgers 1-0. Last night, Raul Ibanez, deep home run in the 9th inning off of Will Omen. Dodgers still won 9-2, but that was a fairly lengthy home run off of Will Omen. And the guys in the bullpen for the Dodgers, they're commemorating it with some caution tape, and I think they're having fun with Will Omen.
Well, that's exactly where the spot where the ball landed, and they have the caution tape and the beware of flying objects. You know, Will Omen usually is the guy down there that's causing all the problems and making the pranks on everybody, but obviously when he's the one that gave it up, they found someone else out there that wanted to give it back to him. That's great. That was a long home run.
For Ibanez, it was his 10th home run of the season. He has been exactly what the Phillies were hoping they would get when they allowed Pat Burrell to go to Tampa Bay last offseason, brought in Ibanez to replace him.
He's exactly who they thought he was?
Yes, Denny Green. 328 the batting average, 26 runs batted in. Those 26 RBI, tops on the team. I've always thought of Ibanez as a left-handed hitting Edgar Martinez, the old third baseman designated hitter for the Seattle Mariners.
Pretty good comparison. I mean, this guy has been a tremendous player. No one knows who he is. Now, he credits Kevin Seitzer, and there's a lot of guys around baseball.
Pitch downstairs. Ibanez works the leadoff walk against Billingsley.
A lot of guys around baseball these days that talk about Kevin Seitzer as an outstanding hitting coach. When he was with the Royals in '01, he got sent down to the minor leagues, and Seitzer grabbed him for 3 days and said, look, we got to change your approach at the plate. And he talked to him about staying in the middle of the field and changed a bunch of things that he was doing hitting. And he said, from that point on, I become a much better hitter. And, you know, always we'll talk about the influence that Seitzer had on his career.
Pedro Feliz takes outside. Who was the most significant hitting instructor that you worked with during your course of your big league career or minor league career? You worked with some big names.
Yeah, I don't know if I should say it because I never was really a great hitter. The guy probably doesn't look at it as a feather in his cap, but the guy who always made every hitter work the hardest was Walt Hriniak with Boston and then in Chicago. A lot of people disagreed with his methods. He was a disciple of Charlie Lau's style of hitting, which is, you know, keep your head down, high follow through, you know, swing down on the ball, weight shift to the front. There was a lot of guys that were very successful doing it that way.
Good fastball, blows it past Feliz.
You know, Hriniak helped guys like Dwight Evans with the Red Sox. He had Wade Boggs, and then when he came over to the White Sox, he had in the early years Frank Thomas when he put up ridiculous numbers for the first 8 years of his career. Made Lance Johnson a better player. It was I believe led both leagues in numbers of hits. I don't think he ever led the league in hitting, but led the both American and National League in hits 2 different seasons. Robin Ventura.
Two balls and 2 strikes to Feliz. Ibanez on at first base. And the count goes full 3-2. That was the swiftest pitch of the day so far today for Billingsley. 95 miles per hour on the radar gun.
Well, we talked about when Chad gets in trouble is when he walks guys, and he's going very deep into a lot of these counts. He's got to throw strikes earlier in the count so that he can expand the zone with pitches that aren't strikes after you're ahead in the count. It's so much more difficult to try to get a guy to swing at a bad pitch when he's ahead in the count.
And Chad's thrown 27 pitches so far today. The overwhelming majority of them have missed the strike zone. 16 balls, just 11 strikes. Swing and a miss. Strikeout for Billingsley. His second strikeout of the game. 1 out here in the second.
Watch the location of this. This is not a good location. You look where Russell Martin has to come back out over the middle of the plate. That's what really got Billingsley in trouble in the playoff games against this team last year. He got lucky on that pitch that Phillies swung right through that ball. Of course, Pedro Phillies is another guy in that lineup absolutely struggling. 2 for his last 13. Now with the sun coming out, a lot of the Dodger infielders are grabbing some sunglasses and putting them on. Been kind of a hazy overcast day until this point.
Yeah, we started the day at 70 degrees and overcast. Temperatures expected to go up to mid-70s, but there was a lot of rain in this part early this morning, and there's supposed to be rain later on this evening, but right now it's perfect.
We have had great weather here in Philly.
Carlos Ruiz sings at the first pitch and singles it into left field. Second hit of the ball game for the Phillies. Runners on at first and at second. 1 out here in the second.
I wanted to go back to that Phillies at bat. You know, sometimes you'll talk about pitchers will say, well, I only made one mistake when that guy hit the ball into the seats. But watch one time again right here. Look where Russell Martin's wanting the ball. That ball's right out over the middle of the plate and it gets hit. Right now, Billingsley's struggling mightily with hitting the locations that he wants. Occasionally, you get away with it like he did to Pedro Phillies. That was a fastball right down the middle that Phillies swung through.
So 2 runners on, 1 out. Cole Hamels is the batter. Bunts it right in front of the plate. Martins only plays at first. He throws to Hudson covering. There are now 2 outs, but 2 men in scoring position. Sacrifice 1-4. So the Phillies stay out of a double play. They get an extra guy in scoring position. And they bring up Jimmy Rollins, who's feeling good about himself. His second home run of the season yesterday. A double and a run scored earlier in this ball game.
Well, he's starting to have a lot of things to feel good about. He's still only hitting right around 200, but had the home run, and he opens the game with the double. Now he's got 2 guys in scoring position, and he's back in his traditional leadoff spot. Chad Billingsley needs to find a way to blow him away here so that he doesn't start feeling great about himself.
As a breaking ball strike. Well, the Phillies feeling like druids so far today. First time through the lineup, they've had 3 sacrifices. 2 sacrifice bunts and 1 sacrifice fly.
There won't be anybody left to play.
0-1 pitch swung on and missed. 0-2. Rollins is set up.
Well, they certainly have a game plan against Rollins, who in his first at bat when he doubled down the right field line, it was a slider down and in. And he's seen 2 of the very same pitches that he hit in his first at bat. Swung through both of them. So they're going breaking balls down and in early in the count. Let's see what they do now.
89 miles per hour. Fouled away first base side.
Sometimes if you have a game plan where you want to go hard in or soft in, sometimes you go the other way, just a waste one, like maybe a fastball away in this situation, and then come back to your game plan. Hard in again.
We talked about Billingsley having a hard time hitting the strike zone. That's changed over the last couple of batters. He's thrown 8 straight strikes. soon as you say it. Now 8 of 9.
And that was a purpose pitch right there. That was what I had just talked about. Go away from the game plan just to show the hitter something different. Maybe try to get Rollins to climb the ladder. Now I would expect that they'd go right back to what they think they can get him out with. And the indication is that they think they can get him out with breaking balls down and in. Wants to keep this ball in this area to get a strikeout or a weak ground ball to the first baseman.
Rollins just stays alive. Rollins wasn't very happy the first couple of games of this series, batting in the 5th hole for Charlie Manuel. For years, he has been the everyday leadoff man for the Phillies, and when he was moved down in the lineup, he made it clear that he would do it. He's a team guy, but he told Charlie Manuel, hey, I'm a leadoff hitter. Eventually, that's where I'm going to want to play.
Charlie said he did it just to change things up. There was nobody in the lineup really hitting, and they won that game, so he stuck with it.
Pop up, foul territory. Going to be playable for Casey. Blake makes the catch, side retired. 2 runners left on in scoring position. We played 2 here in Philadelphia. 1-0 Phils. Top of the 3rd inning, Dodgers trailing the Phillies 1-0. Both teams with a pair of hits. Phillies able to cash in on a sacrifice fly by Ryan Howard in their half of the 1st inning. It'll be 8-9-1 for the Dodgers. Casey Blake, Chad Billingsley, and then the top of the lineup, Juan Pierre, to hit against Cole Hamels. Casey a home run late in the game yesterday. His 7th of the season. Swings at the first pitch and fouls it away right side.
Oh, we talked about all the fans that are following us on Twitter, and of course they know the highlights we're going to show here in just a little bit. For the rest of you, you'll finally get to see them. I like the fact that the guys down in the truck, Brad and Andy and Jared and even Nettles down there, I mean, they picked highlights that are going to be worth seeing. Love hustle baseball. That's what you're going to see. Not sure how much Nettles had to do, how much he was involved in picking the highlight.
Ball and 2 strikes to Casey Blake. Hamels works fairly quickly, misses down in the dirt, 2-2.
Well, to me, that's always the sign of a guy that has a lot of confidence in what he's doing out there. Give me the ball, I'm going to throw it again because I don't think you can hit me anyway, so let's go.
Poked right side. If it stays fair, it's trouble. It is fair. Extra bases for Casey Blake down into the corner. Stand-up double for the number 8 hitter for the Dodgers. It's actually called a ground rule double as the ball bounces into the stands, I believe. All right, like you said, Steve, we promised the folks on Twitter some highlights, some hustle plays. This is what you get.
Jason Worth stealing home the other night was, that's one of the more exciting plays you're ever going to see. Russell Martin had no chance. He slid in easily and beat that play. And then Wednesday night, here comes Matt Kemp on a bunt play. He was on second base. He just flew around third and scored all the way. Look how far he slides. He must go 15 feet on his belly.
And no coincidence, the team with the hustle play of the game on Tuesday was the team that won, and the team with the hustle play of the game on Wednesday. Matt Kemp and the Dodgers winning yesterday.
I like the correlation. Now Larry Boa having a little conversation with Chad Billingsley up there, discussing exactly what they want to do. You got to figure he'll be dropping a bunt down, but he wants to make sure he gets it to the right side of the field. Bunt the ball to the third baseman. Here's why. That guy right there has got nothing better to do. That's Ryan Howard. He's going to crash on this play and come down. Cole Hamels is going to come straight in here. You want to bunt the ball this way to make Phillies come in and field the ball. That way the guy on second base walks into third.
Called strike. It's now 1-2.
And Casey Blake doesn't quite have Matt Kemp's speed, so I doubt that if the ball gets bunted down the third base line and Hamels picks it up and throws it to first, that Casey Blake will keep going.
Called strike 3.
Wow.
8th time in 16 at-bats so far this year that Chad Billingsley has struck out.
That's just a little surprising up there. Chad Billingsley usually does a pretty good job of at least trying to get his bat on the ball. He didn't think that was a strike. He pulled back, and unfortunately, when you have 2 strikes on you, got to find a way to get the ball down so that you can get your runners over. Such a huge part of the game in the National League is the ability of the pitchers to do something at the plate. Drop down a sacrifice, move a guy over somehow.
So Juan Pierre will bat, takes downstairs, ball 1. Juan led off the game with a 3-hopper to the second baseman Chase Utley. Batting average still above 400. Hamels misses inside, 2-0.
This is one of those situations with Juan Pierre hitting. Although he's been hitting gaps lately, the outfielders will play more shallow. A play at the plate on a base hit.
There's a strike.
See how shallow all the outfielders are playing. They don't have to back up too far because they know that Juan Pierre doesn't have home run power.
Count is now 3-1.
In order to counteract that, Casey Blake has to be very aware of where the outfielders are playing, and then he has to get a very aggressive secondary lead so that he's got an extra step. If the ball's hit, he has a chance to score.
Juan took a big rip on 3-1. Count runs full, 3 balls and 2 strikes.
I kind of like the situation when there's a slap hitter at the plate, as Juan slaps this ball right off of his ankle. Ouch.
That's one of the bigger swings you ever see out of Juan Pierre.
Yeah, he was sitting dead red on a 3-1 pitch. And he has been driving the ball better. His last home run was last year in Pittsburgh.
Fooled him, still able to get a bat on the ball and fouls it away.
You know, these days in the game, you see so few plays at the plate. You know, it seemed to me that even as far back as when I played, there just seemed to be many more plays at the plate on plays from the outfield. When you have a slap hitter up there and the infielders or the outfielders move in a little bit, they have a better chance at making a play at the plate.
High pop-up, easy play for Ibanez. 2 down. So after the leadoff double, Casey Blake remains on at second base, and Rafael Furcal is the last chance for the Dodgers here in the 3rd. Furcal singled and was caught stealing in the 1st inning. Kind of an unusual way to end the inning. Raffy had a half-hearted attempt to steal second base with Orlando Hudson up. Hudson was called out on strikes, and Raffy, caught in a pickle between 1st and 2nd, was eventually tagged out by Ryan Howard trying to get back to 1st.
Well, Hudson's only struck out 17 times before that at bat, and with Cole Hamels being left-handed, he wanted to make sure he didn't get picked off, so he did get a late jump. Running on 3-2 in that situation, the cardinal sin in baseball is to get picked off. So Raffy made sure that Cole Hamels was delivering the ball to the plate, and then the common wisdom is that they figured Hudson would put the ball in play.
Ooh, fooled him with that changeup. 1-1.
Raffy out in front. You don't see that too often. So far out in front, he knocked his own helmet off.
A lot of old baseball people always say that you don't need to look at the radar gun to see if it's a good enough changeup. The hitter will tell you if he's got a good changeup by the quality of the swing.
Yeah, if you get him out on his front foot and he's off balance, the thing with hitting is it's all about timing and balance. And you know, if you have a good core and a good balance through your swing, you'll be able to drive the ball. If you don't, you're out in front. Doesn't matter how strong you are. The only chance you have at that point is if you've kept your hands back. If you bring your hands with you when you're out front, you've got nothing left to try to hit the ball. The best you can do is flip something somewhere. Usually it's an ugly swing and you'll foul it off or swing through it, and that's exactly why a pitcher's throwing a changeup.
1-2. Count goes even. Dodgers with 10 hits or more in each of their last 4 games. 10 hits or more in 6 of their last 7. So far 3 hits through 2 2/3 against Cole Hamels. Another foul ball. This is the final time during the regular season the Dodgers will play here at Citizens Bank Park.
Like to make a playoff date to come back?
All right, for Hamels, this is his 50th pitch of the game upcoming. Misses inside. Count runs full 3-2.
Well, we talked a little bit about it in yesterday's ball game and the fact that the Dodgers were here in the playoffs last year. As you look at pitches by inning for Cole Hamels, it was a great playoff atmosphere and a lot of fun to be in this stadium during the playoffs.
Another foul ball. Yeah, this is another great crowd. We've had sellouts each of the first 2 games of this series.
Doesn't anybody work in this town?
And this is a school day. School's still in session. But it's the power of winning the World Series. We told you earlier this series that in the National League, the only team that draws better this year than the Dodgers are the fans here in Philadelphia. These are the top 2 drawing teams at their home ballparks. 3-2 pitch. On the ground is short. Backhanded by Rollins. Can't make the play. Casey Blake will score.
Well, there's a rare mistake by Jimmy Rollins at shortstop, and you could almost smell that one coming just because of the way his feet set up. A lot of shortstops, we talked about it on a ball with Chase Utley yesterday. You like to get low and behind this ball. He didn't get a chance to do it. Look, he's low, but he's not behind it. When you backhand a ball, you almost want to field that ball behind your body. You don't want to be reaching out in front because your hands aren't as soft. You catch a backhanded play behind yourself. If not, you're stiff, and you take a chance that a bad hop will skip by you.
Orlando Hudson takes a pitch downstairs. How big of a break was it for the Dodgers? That's just the 9th error of the season for Philadelphia. This is their 32nd game. That is by far the fewest errors of any team in Major League Baseball. But Rollins with the miscue allows an unearned run to score for the Dodgers. And now a chance to really make Philadelphia pay with good speed on at first base. Let's see if Raffia is aggressive here with 2 outs.
I think Raffia is still trying to figure out what Cole Hamels' move is all about.
Orlando Hudson saw a bunch of pitches his first time up. Had a 9-pitch at bat in the first inning before eventually striking out looking. Taking on 2-0. It's now 2-1.
The last time that Jimmy Rollins made more than 12 errors in a season was in 03. Last year he made 7 the entire year.
It must be windier than it seems down in the field. There's been a lot of wrappers and napkins flowing on that field. Doesn't seem like it's windy up here.
There's just a lot of people eating hot dogs and throwing the wrapper around. Man, it's like, reminds me of Wrigley Field in days gone by when there used to be stuff flying around the infield there all the time.
2-1 pitch. Fouled away right side. Seems like there's a lot of foul balls hit by the Dodgers here in the first 3 innings against Cole Hamels. Two balls and 2 strikes.
You know, these days when you look at the top of the Dodger order and how productive both Furcal and Hudson have been, now with Juan Pierre at the top of the order as well, It's a lot less about the fact that these guys steal bases now.
Good changeup fools Orlando Hudson. He's now struck out twice against Cole Hamels. Hamels with 4 strikeouts on the day. But the Dodgers get an unearned run, but it counts. It's a 1-1 tie. Bottom of the third is next.
Into the bottom of the third now. We'd like to show you at least what Chad Billingsley is dealing with right now. Trouble commanding the plate. There's a pitch right there that struck out Pedro Feliz that was supposed to be away, and it was right down the middle. This popped up Jimmy Rollins, another one right down the middle with 2 strikes. Look for that, whether or not Chad can make the adjustment and start hitting his spots, or if he gets in trouble later in this ball game, you'll understand why.
Shane Victorino will lead things off for the Phillies. Here in the third inning, Victorino, Utley, and Howard, 2, 3, and 4 in the Phillies lineup. Victorino doesn't have an official plate appearance. He sacrificed back in the first inning, allowing Rollins to go from second to third. Jimmy Rollins eventually came around to score on the sacrifice fly by Ryan Howard. Pitch misses inside. Now Chad Billingsley off to a fairly good start here against a team that really caused him trouble in the postseason a year ago. We talked about the 2 starts for Chad in the NLCS against the Phillies. Saddled with the loss in both games, made it a combined 5 innings in those 2 starts. And maybe what made it worse is in the offseason, Chad Billingsley couldn't get away from it all. Chad Billingsley makes his winter home in Berks County, Pennsylvania, which is about 65 miles northwest of Philadelphia. So each day after the season came to a close, swing and a miss, ball down in the dirt. Victorino is tagged out. Out number 1 for Chad Billingsley. That's his 3rd strikeout of the game. So each day in the postseason, as Chad Billingsley was trying to get over somewhat poor performances against the Phillies, he'd go up to his front stoop and pick up his daily copy of the Reading Eagle and read the sports section, and it would be all about Brad Lidge and Chase Utley and what a fantastic World Series run that the Phillies had been on.
And by the way, Cole Hamels will be appearing down at the local mall to sign autographs.
So Chase Utley takes a 92-mile-an-hour fastball, strike 1.
Well, certainly Dodger fans would like to see Chad Billingsley throw a great game, get through 6 or 7 innings here, and come out of this ball game with the lead and give his team a chance to win. But if that happens, the post-game comments, the first words out of his mouth will be, I battled through this one. I didn't have my good stuff. I wasn't able to locate the way I have been able to, or the way I would like to, at least into the 3rd inning so far. Still has time to turn it around, but it just kind of shows you how good a pitcher he's become to be able to battle through times when he's not throwing his best.
Oh, 2 to Utley. This is high and tight. Utley does not have a hit so far in this series. He's 0 for 8. Did draw a walk his last time up.
You ever notice when Utley's not playing well, I don't mention that I'm semi-quasi related to him. When he's playing really well, I make mention that my father's second cousin is his wife's mother, something like that. I have no idea what the relation is, but when he's playing really good, I kind of throw that out there.
That's true. You're related to Utley?
Yeah, Utley never says a word about it.
Called strike 3, 96 miles an hour right at the knees. That's back-to-back strikeouts, 4 on the day for Billingsley.
This is excellent right here. Remember, we talked about he loves to command the outer part of the plate. Utley doesn't think that's a strike. It was a nasty pitch. Utley doesn't say a word about it and heads back. But that was a problem against this Phillies team, or any ball club that had powerful left-handed hitters in it, is that he was unable to get the ball away and keep it there, and then also unable to really get in on left-handers.
Ryan Howard takes high and outside, ball 1. to chase a ball in the dirt. 1-1.
So far, we've seen Billingsley get in on the left-handers with his slider rather than his fastball. There's that crazy shift.
But when you take a look at that shift for Ryan Howard, obviously the infield is swung all the way to the right side, but defensively in the outfield, not so much. Matt Kemp is actually on the left field side of the second base bag.
Well, there's a lot of guys that if they're going to pull the ball on the ground, and if they hit the ball in the air, they'll use all the fields.
And he does pull it on the ground. Hudson comes on, makes the play, side retired. 3 up, 3 down for the first time for Chad Billingsley. 3 in the books. It's a 1-1 tie here in Philly. Top of the 4th inning, time now for our Aflac trivia question. Today's starting pitcher for the Phillies, Cole Hamels, is one of 3 pitchers to win both the NLCS and World Series MVPs in the same season. Who are the other 2?
You're thinking as we don't speak, aren't you?
That's tough.
There's your favorite right there, the Philly fanatic.
He does good work. Or she.
It.
Middle third of the lineup for the Dodgers. Ethier, Martin, and Loney. Andre takes strike 1. His first time up, he bounced out to the first baseman, Ryan Howard. Dodgers scored an unearned run against the Phillies. Top of the 3rd inning. That's how they got their run. Phillies scored a run in the 1st inning on a sacrifice fly by Ryan Howard, scoring Jimmy Rollins.
Nice to see Andre Ethier get it going.
Swing and a miss at a changeup. Man, that must be tough. Ethier strikes out. That's the 5th strikeout of the day for Hamels.
Well, look at that. Look at the late movement on that ball, and Ethier got down 0-2 quick. You see the balance get out of whack. You see where he starts to go this way instead of having a great balance right through there. That's when you know you're in trouble. That ball going down and away from him.
Russell Martin takes a called strike. You hear about guys, especially Manny Ramirez, sometimes the elite hitters will set up the pitching machine, so it's nothing but hard sliders, outer half. You can set up the pitching machine to give yourself a replica of a curveball, fastball. What can you do with a changeup? As that ball is lined into left center field. Martin a chance maybe for extra bases. Instead, he'll stop with a single.
Nice play out there by Ibanez, who basically dove for that ball to keep it from going to the gap. He just slides on it and catches it. Quick outfield grass. That ball's rolling into the gap. Maybe Ibanez comes flying into your picture to snag it and get it back in before Russell Martin can think seriously about going for 2. Now, to answer your question, there's not much. There's no machine out there that can simulate a good changeup.
Can a batting practice pitcher give you a changeup?
Excellent question. You remember Eddie Brinkman,
the old Detroit Tiger,
and coach with the White Sox when I played there, had a great changeup. In fact, I was having trouble with breaking balls and changeups, so they brought me out early one day and they had him throwing them to me. He was about 70 years old at the time, and he would tell me that they were coming. I couldn't hit them even in batting practice. They sent me down 2 days later.
James takes downstairs.
It's rare, though, to find a guy who has a good changeup and can throw them to you in a batting practice situation or any time. One of the reasons why that pitch is so effective.
All right, 2 questions for you. What's the average speed of a batting practice pitch?
Yeah, it's hard to tell only because usually they never throw it from the mound. They try to simulate speed by throwing it, a lot closer to you than 60 feet 6 inches. But it's usually, 80 miles an hour.
There goes Russell down to second. Throw, not nearly in time. Steals it going away. For Russell Martin, his 4th steal of the season. So I guess that ankle's okay.
Yeah, he jammed it on first base, getting back earlier in the ball game, but Now, Russell still goes by the surprise factor. Look, he doesn't have a big lead at all because he wants to go on first move. What he wanted to do in that situation was bait Cole Hamels into thinking, hey, he's not going anywhere. He doesn't have a big lead, so I don't even have to bother throwing over. And then as soon as Hamels lifts that first leg, he's gone.
Ball and 2 strikes to Loney. Breaks his bat. Little liner, first baseman Howard over to second, double play. Russell Martin was fooled, got caught in no man's land, and the side is retired. We've played 3.5. Bottom of the 4th is next. 1-1 tie. Dodger Baseball on Prime Ticket is brought to you by Jack in the Box. Right now, try the mini sirloin burgers. They're 3 delicious burgers on toasted mini buns. And by AM/PM. Too much good stuff.
We'll show you that double play to end the last inning. It's the second such play that Russell Martin's been involved in. And what he does is he gets a very aggressive secondary lead, and that's all well and good. You should get a good secondary lead. But if you stop it right at the point of contact, this is where Russell's got to look up and think about going back towards second, because this is not a ball that's going to get out of the infield. But watch what Russell does now. He goes the other way, 2 or 3 steps towards third. Now he's in trouble with Rollins coming in behind him, and he's way too far off the bag because he got a great secondary lead. Well, you got to react quickly, know that that ball is going to get caught, and get back to second base.
Bottom of the 4th inning, Jason Worth leads things off against Chad Billingsley and takes strike 1. Worth, Ibanez, and Phillies. Bat here in the 4th inning. Billingsley gave up a run in the 1st inning. He's thrown a couple of scoreless frames since. Last inning was the only time so far today that he's had a 1-2-3 inning, had a couple of strikeouts in that bottom of the 3rd.
We'll see if Billingsley goes for the strikeout right away on an 0-2 count. Slider down and away. That's a pitch that in the past, Billingsley will get hitters to swing at that pitch. He doesn't bother really wasting anything. You know, he'll get a strikeout on 3 pitches. I think the Dodgers are thinking that maybe the Phillies are pretty good at stealing signs or picking things up. Look at what Russell Martin's doing. There's nobody on base, and yet he's flashing a series of signals.
This ball is driven in the air, right side. Ethier on the track.
Foul ball.
Foul ball. That one right in the corner.
You almost have to apologize for not making the call, but we can't see it. When you go down into that corner, you can't see the action. Here's Ethier coming over. You got to realize that he's got to stop because there's a wall there. There's really only about, I'd say, maybe 5 to 8 feet, probably 8 feet between the foul line and the wall. You're running full speed to try to catch the ball. At some point, you got to think about stopping. That's how far. Look at the distance. You're talking about 1 stride. The next stride, you're at the base of the fence. So you're running full speed. You literally have 1 step before your next step is going to run you straight into the wall.
1-2 pitch. A little bit outside. 2-2. 97 miles per hour. That's the swiftest pitch of the day. I want to get back to what you were just bringing up. You said it's possible that the Dodgers think that the Phillies could be trying to steal signs. There's no one on base. Who could possibly be looking in?
Well,
there it is. 85 miles per hour breaking ball, and Worth just looks at it. Strikeout number 5 for Billingsley.
And Billingsley might be finding his stride as far as command of the strike zone. There's the breaking ball that everyone knows and loves right there. After a 97-mile-an-hour fastball, it's hard to pull the trigger on that one. You think it might break out of the zone, and Worth, all he can do is look at it and then go sit down. That's nasty.
Ibanez walked his first time up, takes downstairs.
Well, you never know how, what the Dodgers are thinking about as far as the Phillies and what they might be doing to try to steal signs. but there's no other reason to do a series of signs when there's nobody on base, unless you think they're trying to pick something up somehow. I mean, when there's nobody on base, 1's a fastball, 2's a curve, 3's a slider. You're not given 4 signs unless you're worried that somehow someone's picking something up. No reason for that if you're not worried.
Another good fastball, Ibanez. Tardy. Ball and 2 strikes. Billingsley trying to become the first 6-game winner in the National League.
See if Billingsley goes slider down and in hard. That's what he's been doing to the lefties. There it is. Didn't quite get that one inside.
Solid single for Ibanez. He's been on the bases twice so far today. All right, time now to answer our Aflac trivia question. Told you that Cole Hamels last year was the MVP of both the NLCS and the World Series. 2 other pitchers have done that in the National League. Who are they? Livan Hernandez in 1997 and Oral Hershiser in 1988.
Well, during the break, it took me a long time to get to that answer, but eventually I did.
Eventually would have come up with Hershiser, I think, but Livan Hernandez.
Well, I had Brad Zager tell me the answer is what really happened.
Pedro Feliz swings and misses at the first pitch.
After I knew the year and team, then it was a little easier.
I believe that 97 Livan Hernandez Florida Marlins team, I believe that was the NLCS against Atlanta, where it seemed as if the strike zone was
Eric Gregg?
Yeah, oh, it was from Miami all the way down to Cuba. It was huge. Atlanta guys had no chance against Hernandez. Billingsley quickly ahead of Feliz, 0-2.
And this is the way Chad is accustomed to pitching. Ahead in the count, where he can start messing around with a lot of different weapons. Go high fastball, fastball in the outer half, slider down and away. That's his best weapon, and here it comes.
Right to the first baseman, Loney. Could be 2. Throws high at second. Return throws a good one. 3-6-3 on the double play. Heck of an athletic play by the shortstop for call. Side retired. We move to the 5th. 1-1 tie. Dodgers and Phils.
Now time for the Jack in the Box outside the box play of the game here. And this is like a football play. You know, a lot of times when Donovan McNabb has to get some air under the football when he's looking for Deshaun Jackson over the middle, or has to dump one over the linebacker. That's what James Loney did. He had to get some air under that ball so he could throw it over the runner and then drop it in at second base. Rafael Furcal did a great job of going up to get that ball, landed on the base, and the relay throw back to first. That was a sweet football play in a baseball game. Of course, if Southern California had a football team, I would have made references to that club instead of the Eagles.
Matt Kemp swings at the first pitch and lines it into left field, just over the head of Jimmy Rollins. Rollins listed at a 5'8". Maybe if he was 5'10", he comes up with that play.
You know, maybe if he was 5'10", he wouldn't be the player he is today. Get up there.
Oh. Kemp will take it. His first base hit of the day.
Now, there's a lot of great stories about Jimmy Rollins and how he was scouted out of the Oakland area. And when he was in high school, he was only 5'4". And the scouts loved him, but they wouldn't send their cross-checkers out to come out and see this kid. And every time they put in a report about him, they'd never talk about his height or weight, because they figured no one's going to come out and watch some kid that's 5'4". But he could flat out play, and everyone knew it. And when they finally came out to see him, he had such a great day. Everyone said, we don't care how big he is. He's about 5'6" now. But he was such a tiny kid when all the teams were scouting him. The people that saw him play on an everyday basis didn't want to talk about how big he was.
As good as Jimmy Rollins is, he's got a long way to go before he's considered to be the best player to ever come out of his high school. He's from Encinal High School up in Northern California. Same high school as Willie Stargell.
Pops. Willie was pretty good.
So that high school has produced 3 MVPs. 1 by Rollins, 2 by Starcher.
Cover that thing up. He looks like he's waiting for some more rain.
0-2 pitch to Casey Blake. This one goes over Rollins' head. Another single for the Dodgers, and Kemp's
look out,
thinking about going to third. Now he's caught, nowhere to go. Trying to get back to second, and he'll make it.
Wow. Boy, a couple of seasons ago, everybody talked about Matt Kemp's lack of instincts on the bases. He has made some ridiculously athletic plays and some great decisions on what he's thinking about doing out there. He thought about going to third, and then he thought he might be able to deke Ibanez into throwing to the wrong base. And then, as if he had eyes in the back of his head, he realized that Ibanez did throw the ball to third, so he hightailed it back to second, and now he's smiling, laughing, thinking, I'm glad I made the right choice.
So you're saying that was a good base running decision that he made?
Great base running decision, and his decisions have gotten better and better with each passing year. And once again, that's repetition. I mean, this is one of the worst base runners I ever saw 2 years ago, and everybody thought that way. Not so anymore.
The pitcher Billingsley grabs the bat, sacrifice situation. This time he gets it down, plays at third. They get the force there, over to first, not in time. Utley late to the bag, can't find first base, and Billingsley, give him credit, hustling down that line, beats out the throw.
Boy, this year we have seen more than our share of bunts that only go about 5 feet out in front of the plate. You're not even making a catcher make a decision in that case. It's an easy throw to make down to third base. Even with Matt Kemp's speed, he can't beat it out.
So 2-5 on the fielder's choice. Matt Kemp is erased. Casey Blake checks in at second, and Billingsley will now have to spend some time on the base path, sees it first. Yeah, the Dodgers already a little bit bummed that you can't get the sacrifice down, but the double whammy is the fact that now Chad Billingsley can't spend some time in the dugout catching his breath. Instead, he's got to run the bases. Juan Pierre takes downstairs, ball 1.
A little miscommunication right there between Jimmy Rollins and Cole Hamels. Rollins wanted to put a pickoff play on it with Casey Blake, and Hamels decided to throw the ball to the plate right at the same time. That left Jimmy Rollins blatantly out of position. Here's 2 pitches ago. Watch where Jimmy Rollins is. He's going to sneak in behind. You do not want Cole Hamels throwing the ball. Look at all the area over there. If any ball gets hit right there, Jimmy Rollins is like, wait a minute, I wanted to put a play on. You got to make sure you watch me. 2 pitches too late.
Dodgers could use a pick-me-up. So far today, they're 0 for 5 with runners in scoring position. And again, Hamels looks back to second, nothing going on. Coors Light introduces the new 12-ounce cold activated can. When the mountains turn blue, your beer is as cold as the Rockies. Frost brewed Coors Light, the world's most refreshing beer. Juan hits it out of play. That'll make it into the grandstands, about 8 rows deep.
And one more thought about Jimmy Rollins and his size. In 07, Rollins started every game, 162 games for the Phillies, and that's only been done 2 other times by a shortstop in baseball. Leo Cardenas did it, and Bill Russell of the Dodgers did it in 1973. You don't see guys that are Jimmy Rollins' size have the strength and stamina to be able to play every game every day. Juan Pierre, another guy who loved to play every inning of every game.
Juan gets down to bunt. Phillies over to first. 2 outs. A little sneak attack there on that bunt attempt.
Well, I don't like that play only because when there's a guy on second base to drive in, you should try to drive him in. You're not going to drive him in with a bunt. Now, if he's safe, you got the bases loaded. But at the same time, if you're not, it's, you know, It's a sacrifice bunt in a situation where you don't really need one. Juan Pierre's been swinging the bat so well, you might as well swing the bat and drive in Casey Blake from second base, not just get him to third.
Yeah, they do score to sacrifice, 5-3 on the putout. But that is the official score's discretion. You don't have to give a sacrifice just because the bunt is laid down and the runners advance. So there's now 2 outs. Runners on at second and third, and Rafael Furcal will hit. Raffy takes ball 1. Furcal has reached safely twice so far today. Singled in the first inning. Reached on an error in the third. That error with 2 outs in the third inning allowed Casey Blake to score from second base. That's the only time the Dodgers have scored.
Wind has definitely picked up. See, the flags in center field are blowing straight out. That's not a good sign in this ballpark. The ball girl's hair was blowing all over the place. The flags are blowing around out there. But as you said, we're pretty protected from the wind up here in our booth. Very difficult to judge how windy it is out there from where we're sitting.
Hamels sets the 1-2.
Key pitch of this game right here for Cole Hamels. Philly fans wanted that to be called a strike, and it's easy to sit around and say, oh, I should have got that one for a strike. It's important what you do on this pitch.
Almost takes out Larry Bowa. Still got those good feet.
I think Hamels steps off the mound, thinks about this a little bit, because that's an easy pattern to fall in. It's like, hey, that 2-2 pitch I threw, or that 1-2 pitch, that was a strike. And then the next pitch gets hit for a double and 2 runs scored. That's the easy way out.
Golfed foul. We'll do it again.
A little ping pong ball down there in the stands. Finally, a guy says, I've got it.
That broke Raffy's bat.
Little meeting on the mound to get on the same page, trying to figure out what Furcal is looking for up there.
Blake still on at third. Billingsley trailing him on at second. Two-two. Count goes full 3-2. The red hot Orlando Hudson on deck.
Cole Hamels' best pitch in this situation is a changeup. He's got a lot of confidence in it. He also has a base open.
8th pitch of this at bat. Changeup, got it. Perfect time for Hamels to register his 6th strikeout of the game. Home half of the 5th is next. 1-1 tie. Bottom of the 5th inning. Time now for our Land Rover Extraordinary. Today it has been Chad Billingsley who has been extraordinary. Right-hander from Defiance, Ohio, has dialed up 5 strikeouts so far through 4 innings. He's allowed just 1 run on 3 base hits. Chad Billingsley, Land Rover Extraordinary.
Seen a pretty good pitcher's duel out there in today's ball game. You look at the way Cole Hamels has finished innings off. In every inning except for the 4th, where he got a line drive double play to end the inning, he struck out the final batter of that inning.
Carlos Ruiz, Cole Hamels, and then the top of the lineup, Jimmy Rollins here in the 5th. Breaking ball, strike 1. Steve, I'm going to ask you maybe an unanswerable question. A lot of people, when they see Chad Billingsley, the first thing they notice is the movement on his pitches. Obviously, he gets pretty good velocity, but the movement is just exceptional at times. A guy like Chad, where is he getting that movement from?
Well, when I look at him, I look at that big rear end and big thighs. I think where he gets most of his power is from those legs. The movement usually has to do with finger pressure. And some guys have natural movement. A guy like Derek Lowe, who used to pitch obviously for the Dodgers and now is having a great year with Atlanta. I mean, Derek Lowe had no idea why his ball sank. He threw it, and that's what it did. You know, so some guys don't even know. Other guys really have to work with finger pressure and different grips on the ball, and I think that's something that Chad Billingsley's put a lot of time into.
1-2 pitch to Ruiz, bounces in the dirt. Pedro Martinez, he had exceedingly long fingers. Everyone always said that was the reason why he was able to get the movement on the ball. And actually, people thought that Pedro Martinez, the ends of his fingers turned up just slightly.
And they were like rubber.
Yeah.
Like almost like no joints in the end of his fingers. A guy that I played with, Oil Can Boyd, from his wrist to the bottom of his fingers were so long. He had enormously big hands and long fingers for a little guy, really.
And then there's Mordecai Three-Finger Brown, who really didn't do much of anything because he only had 3 fingers. He got the natural movement. No joke. Hall of Famer basically just because he had 3 fingers.
And on the opposite end of that spectrum,
Antonio Alfonseca
had 6.
3-2 pitch. Misses upstairs. So the leadoff walk issued, and Cole Hamels will come on and try and advance Ruiz from first to second with a bunt, you would imagine. We're taking a look at 2 of the best pitchers, 25 years of age and younger. Cole Hamels, look what he's done so far in his first 89 starts and 75 career starts. Chad Billingsley has won twice as many games as he's lost. Hamels does indeed square to bunt, misses it, 0-1. Great note today in the notes for the Dodgers. Chad Billingsley, over the last calendar year, since last April 30th, only Roy Halladay of the Blue Jays has more wins during that time period than that man. Billingsley has 21 wins in the last year.
Well, you just saw that graphic. You could flip a coin and decide what guy you might want to start a ball club with, and you couldn't go wrong with either one of them. Hamels, maybe at this point in his career, has gotten a little more notoriety. Of course, the World Championship of last year. And he married a girl that was on Survivor and ended up in Playboy and all that stuff. So you get a little more notoriety when you do that kind of stuff, too.
These are the active winning pitchers under the age of 26. Scott Kazmir, 51 wins. Felix Hernandez has been doing it for a while up in Seattle. Zach Greinke, he's moving up that list in a hurry. And then you got Billingsley and Hamels.
Nice starting rotation.
Upstairs. But to put that in perspective, Billingsley, Kazmir, Greinke, Hamels, they're no Doc Gooden. Doc Gooden, before the age of 26, over 100 wins.
Well,
1-2 pitch. Breaking ball, misses outside. The actual number for Dwight Gooden, 119 wins before he turned 26.
Well, Dodger fans, of course, would point to a pretty good lefty that came up when he was 20 years old and did a pretty good job himself, Fernando Valenzuela, who had 99 wins before that period in his life.
With 2 strikes, Hamels gets down a bunt, and it's a good one. Billingsley can't pick it up. So the first error of the day for the Dodgers has Joe Torre's team in a pickle.
Well, Billingsley's a good fielder, but I think Russell Martin right now is kicking himself for not taking this ball. Bills didn't have to hurry as much as he did. He wanted to pick that ball up and get it to first base. Remember, it's Cole Hamels running. He's not going to get down there all that quickly, and I think Russell's saying, geez, I should just go out there and pick that up. I'm the catcher. You know, technically I should be the better athlete. I'm going towards that play. That won't happen again. The next time anything like that happens, you will see Russell Martin yelling and screaming for everybody else, get out of the way, I'm taking this.
Infield in at the corners for Jimmy Rollins, who squares to bunt and takes a strike.
Well, you're seeing the Phillies play some conservative baseball. In the first inning, we saw Victorino bunt to get Rollins to third, and now Rollins looks like he might be bunting, mainly because none of these guys in the Phillies order are swinging the bats all that well, and they might only need one extra run to win a ball game.
Swinging away, chops at first base side, foul.
Two strikes now. I doubt that'll be dropping down a bunt. Look at Charlie Manuel there. I mean, when your team is going through a little bit of a lull, as we mentioned, the starting lineup came into this game in this homestand hitting a .168. Saw Victorino drop down that bunt in the first inning to get Rollins over, knowing that with Cole Hamels on the mound, maybe I only need a couple runs to win this ball game.
Ruiz on at second, Hamels on at first. Really, Chad has no one to blame except for himself. He walked the number 8 batter, lead off the inning. And then when Hamels trying to give himself up, bunts it back to Billingsley. He fumbled the baseball, and everyone is safe. So runners on at first and at second, nobody out.
I love that meeting right there at the mound. Usually it's the catcher to come out and talk to the pitcher. But you could see when Russell Martin got out there, it was Billingsley with his arm around Martin and patting him on the back, basically saying, here's the pitches I want to throw right now in this sequence. I got him 0-2. I know what I want to do with them. Let's execute right here.
Got him to swing at a pitch in the dirt. Snap throw to first, and it's down the right field line. Ruiz will move over to third. Hamels will stay on at first. Second error of the day for the Dodgers. Russell getting aggressive, trying to throw the ball quickly down to first, and the ball gets away.
Well, I'm not sure if this is a bad throw or that Loney didn't know it was coming. Here comes Loney in for the play. Oh, yeah, it's just a bad throw. Loney did come in behind Cole Hamels, and we know that Russell Martin loves to throw behind runners. That one just cut on him. It's almost like he threw a cut fastball down there to Loney, and it really took off on him. And now Billingsley's really got to go to work. Victorino's not a guy that bounces into too many double plays, but that's what you're looking for in this situation. Double play, get out of it.
Yeah, the silver lining of that error by Russell Martin is at least Cole Hamels staying on at first base. The double play is still a possibility. First pitch to Victorino.
Right, the slider down and in that he's been throwing to these left-handers are great. You see that pitch. Russell just sees Hamels coming out of the corner of his eye. I think with a good throw, you actually pick Hamels off there. The reason why he couldn't go into second was because he slid into first, and you have Andre Ethier on top of that play out in right field. That keeps the double play in order.
Strike, 1-2.
Well, we have been seeing this low strike get called all day long. That's down in the zone, and not much you can say about it. That's at least the third or fourth pitch we saw Utley strike out on that same pitch. After a while, if you're a hitter and you know that you've seen that pitch to other hitters, there's not much you can say about it when they call one on you.
Bounces in the dirt. Good block by Martin.
As a hitter, all you can ever ask for from an umpire is that he stays consistent. And Jeff Nelson has been consistently down in the strike zone today. Most pitchers love that. You know, it's like that's how I'm taught to pitch, down in the zone. If I can get that call to strike, what's wrong with that?
2 balls and 2 strikes. A little bit outside. Count goes full, 3-2. You dare send Hamels from first on this 3-2 pitch with 1 out?
No. Only because it's your pitcher.
Hamels not going.
Well, we saw the errant throw by Russell Martin. He won a Gold Glove a couple years ago. He had made 14 errors. He made 11 last year. That's his first of the season this year.
But he still hasn't had a passed ball this year. So he's still got a 0 in that category. Billings leads 3-2. Hit on the ground, foul.
I think James Loney has to be very careful about how aggressive he comes off of the base to cover his position. A lot of times when you're holding a guy on first, you really have to take 2 or 3 real quick steps to get back to your position. But because Billingsley's going so hard down and into the lefties, they're going to pull the ball at him down the line. Jimmy Rollins hit a double down the line earlier. He's got to make sure that he's got the line covered as well.
Swing and a miss, got the strikeout he needed, and now they're going to get Hamels. Unless Ruiz does something funky down the line. And here comes Ruiz, and he's in the pickle. Blake trying to run him down. Over to Martin. And that'll do it. An unusual strike him out, throw him out, but the Dodgers will take it. A double play the hard way. We've played 5 here in Philadelphia, still scoreless.
Great play to end that inning, and Russell Martin showing that he wasn't gun shy after making a throwing error. Came right back with it. Strike him out and throw him out. If you're scoring at home, there's the strikeout. Score it 2, 3, 6, 5, and watch for Call hustle back into the play. 2, back to 6 for the final out. Give it to your quickest infielder, your best handler to run down the catcher, Ruiz. 2, 3, 6, 5, 2, 6. Caught stealing.
Dodgers will take it. And Cole Hamels has adventures on the base paths that half inning.
Yeah, I mean, he was out in la-la land there getting picked off. Really would have gotten picked off twice. Now, how many times do you see a shortstop involved in a rundown between first and second, and then involved on the same play in a rundown between third and home, and eventually making the put up? Raffy all over the field.
He's gassed. Chad Billings got to feel good about himself. He had runner on to first and at second, nobody out. And he got out of it. Got the strikeout of Jimmy Rollins, got the strikeout of Shane Victorino, and then got the base running mistake by Cole Hamels.
Well, we are seeing something that we have not seen out of Billingsley all season long. And we talked about his problems with left-handed hitters, but I haven't remembered him as consistently going into lefties that hard down and in with his breaking ball, with the slider. I know from my own personal experience being a left-handed hitter that is such a difficult pitch to hit, because you think it's a good pitch. If you don't pick up the rotation, you think it's a middle-in fastball that you're going to crush. And as soon as you go to swing at it, it ends up breaking back on your back knee. And we've seen him do it time and time again here to Rollins and Victorino. Getting Victorino striking out twice.
Orlando Hudson, Andre Ethier, and Russell Martin working against Cole Hamels here in the 6th. The Dodgers have at least 1 hit in every inning so far. The problem is they haven't bunched up those hits. The Dodgers with 6 hits in 5 innings. They've only been able to score once, that coming back in the 3rd inning on an error actually by Jimmy Rollins. Ball underneath the bat of Orlando Hudson, and for the 3rd time today he strikes out against Cole Hamels. Purchase an infield reserve or Lowe's box ticket when the Dodgers take on the Mets Monday, May 18th or Tuesday, May 19th, and pay just $15. A savings of more than 50%. Visit Dodgers.com/eSavers and enter promo code Loney07. Breaking ball starts for a strike against Ethier. Andre Ethier 1 for 11 in this series, 0 for 2 so far today against Hamels. So both Billingsley and Hamels as advertised, both with 7 strikeouts already in this game.
Talked about Billingsley in the first couple innings having trouble locating his pitches. He's doing a much better job of that. We thought, you know, there's a chance that as the game goes along, maybe he might find his rhythm, and he has done a much better job of that as we've moved along.
Ethier stays alive. Cole Hamels liked Chad Billingsley, a first-round pick when he was drafted out of high school, but there were some people who were wondering whether or not that it would be wise to draft him in the first round. Had a great high school career, but also had just a devastating injury as a sophomore. There's another strikeout. That's now 8 strikeouts for Hamels. When Cole was just a sophomore, while he was working on that great changeup of his, he broke the humerus bone in his pitching arm. And that is a big-time injury. The humerus bone that's between your shoulder and your elbow.
Yeah, same injury that Dave Dravecki and Tom Browning and Tony Saunders all had. None of those guys were able to make it back from that injury. Luckily, he did it early enough in his career he could heal. But that is an ugly, ugly injury to witness happen.
Oh. Breaking your humerus bone is not a funny thing. I've always thought it was interesting that your humerus bone is actually connected to your funny bone. Your funny bone right there by your elbow, the humerus bone is accurate.
That's not funny either.
But that was as a sophomore, so he didn't pitch at all in 10th grade. Came back his junior year and his senior year, put up huge numbers, and everyone likes his size and the speed of his fastball, and of course the fact that he's left-handed. But you always got to wonder, a guy who breaks his arm as a youngster when there was really nothing that caused it. He was just throwing a pitch. And so some major league teams decided, you know what, we're not going to take him. And that was to the gain of the Philadelphia Phillies, who were happy to sign him.
Dravecki obviously never came back from that same injury. Neither did Tom Browning, and Tony Saunders actually did try to make a comeback, and while he was pitching in the minor leagues, he did it again, and that was the end of his career. So, you know, the 4 people that we know that has happened to, Cole Hamels is the only one that's been able to go on with his career and continue on. Most of the doctors say basically it was because he was young enough to where all his bone plates and everything weren't totally mature yet, and he had the ability to heal from something like that because he was so young.
Pitch to Loney, called strike. I'm sure it means absolutely nothing, but the 4 pitchers that we know of that have had this injury of a broken humerus bone, all of them are left-handed. Dravecki, Browning, Tony Saunders, and Cole Hamels.
Makes you happy that you're right-handed. We know some lefties.
Russell Martin on at first base, has already stolen a base. That coming back in the 4th inning after he made it to second, he was erased when Loney lined into a double play. There goes Martin again, and this time it's picked off. Russell Martin's had a tough day on the base pass. Side retired. Bottom of the 6th inning is next. A 1-1 tie here in the city of brotherly love.
Hey, welcome back, everybody, to the Coors Light 6th inning. It's time for the Coors Light freeze cam, and it's Rafael for a call. Up. Look at him just hang. That's some sweet hang time right there. Eventually, he'll come down, tag the bag, and go on to make that double play. And that is our Coors Light freeze cam, brought to you by Frost Brewed Coors Light. Got some big ups.
Bottom of the 6th inning, Utley, Howard, and Worth to bat against Chad Billingsley. It's quite possible this wouldn't be a 1-1 game if we had base running that was a little bit more good towards the mean. Yeah, there have been some base running mistakes made here today at Citizens Bank Park, which is somewhat surprising because 2 of the better base running coaches in all of baseball are on the coaching staffs of both these 2 teams. There's Davey Lopes, longtime Dodger, first base coach here in Philadelphia. He's the one who gets a lot of credit with working with Jason Worth in the last couple of years and helping Jason Worth. And there's Larry Bowa.
Well, you know, Larry Bowa isn't a happy camper right now, seeing what's going on in the bases. Russell Martin's had a tough day out there. Russell Martin was in a situation there where same thing. He went on the first move of Cole Hamels, and if you guess wrong, You either have to keep running because you have a chance of beating the throw to second base, or stop and try to get it in a rundown like Russell did, but usually you're going to be out if that happens. Russell Martin had attempted a stolen base earlier in the ball game, and Matt Kemp struck out on the pitch. He would have been easily safe had the pitch been a ball, not the third out of the inning. And so he figured he'd try it again. This time he guessed wrong. Russell's been involved in a couple of those others, a double play line drive, and a play where he twisted his ankle coming back to first base on another line drive. So the base running has been shaky all around.
We're talking about Davey Lopes and Larry Bowa. Just kind of goes to show you how transient the game of baseball is. Davey Lopes, one of the most popular Dodgers of all time, now here in Philadelphia. Larry Bowa, considered by many to be Mr. Philadelphia, a player and a coach, a player and a manager with the Phillies, now with the Dodgers.
I think the point around baseball is to get good people to work for you regardless of where they played or where they've managed before. Obviously, Boa's been a manager here. Probably wasn't going to come back here and be on the coaching staff, so you move along to somewhere else. He hooked up with Joe Torre in New York and is his right-hand man now.
Utley fouls it away.
A lot of teams like the allegiance to their former players to be in the organization somewhere, but sometimes maybe the best candidates to do the work in the organization don't match up well with the former players that you have.
Utley fouls off another pitch, stays at 2-2.
One of the other big factors in former players being good coaches is the willingness to do it. There are a lot of great players that don't translate very well to good coaches or managers. They don't know how to relate. Some guys fell out of bed and could hit 300. That doesn't mean that they can teach another guy how to do it.
A little bit outside. Classic story, Ted Williams, great hitter for the Red Sox, was the manager of the Washington Senators, and his big theory was hit the bottom of the baseball. Is that possible? Is that something you ever thought about doing?
Well, you know, he was an uppercut guy. He wanted to, that was his theory, is swing up, swing on a slightly upper cut and hit the bottom half of the ball so you get lift on the ball.
Swing and a miss. Strikeout number 8 for Billingsley. That's 3 in a row.
Unfortunately, you can't teach everybody to hit that way. You have a little second baseman. He's going to hit a lot of fly ball outs if you do that. There's a high fastball just blowing it by Utley. And you can see Chad Billingsley as this game starts to get deeper into the ball game, and you're starting to see these guys for the third time. He's starting to change his pattern on these guys. You don't want to throw the same pitch for 3 at-bats in a row. Now that he'd gotten Utley on a ball down in the zone to strike him out his last time. He goes up in the zone to get him this time.
Howard swings at the first pitch. One first baseman is going to retire the other. Loney steps on the bag. 2 outs here in the bottom of the 6th.
Wow, what a great one pitch out against a guy who's powerful as Ryan Howard to keep this a 1-1 game.
Pitch count for Billingsley now up to 87. On the year, his high water mark coming his last time out last Friday against San Francisco when he threw 115. I apologize, I'm about 9 off. 96 for Chad Billingsley. Scoreboard out in right center field is giving me bad information. There you go. See, we have witnesses to the fact that I'm getting bad information. Thanks, guys. Guys in the truck looking out for me. 96-mile-an-hour fastball misses downstairs, 1-1. Jason Worth, a couple of strikeouts so far today. Now here comes the 100th pitch for Billingsley. And he's still got some steam behind it. 93 miles per hour. Over 20 pitches in both the second and the fifth inning. For my money, the most impressive inning he's pitched was that fifth inning. 2 runners on, nobody out. And then the strikeout of Jimmy Rollins, a strikeout of Shane Victorino, and then the base running mistake by Cole Hamels. In a 1-1 game, that's the type of thing you need to do. Keep your team in it.
Well, you got to have the ability to get yourself out of trouble. Ooh, there's a pitch he wanted. When you get into this point of the game and you've thrown 100 pitches, you know that you're trying to conserve the number of pitches that you continue to throw, and yet you still want the close calls. Oh, there you go.
Called strike 3 for the 3rd time today. Chad Billingsley strikes out Jason Worth. He's got 9 strikeouts. The 7th is next. 1-1 here in Philly. Chad Billingsley has been matching Cole Hamels strikeout for strikeout. Billingsley with 9 strikeouts so far through 6 innings. Cole Hamels, he has got 8 strikeouts through 6 on his ledger. Pretty good performance. We expected it coming into the game, and we've gotten it, Steve.
Yeah, this is what you want to see, and this is the matchup that we wanted to see. It's always nice when it lives up to the hype. You know, a lot of times you'll have a game like this, it ends up being a 10-1 game. These guys are going head to head, and both of these offenses are struggling just to try to keep up.
James Loney leads things off. James takes a breaking ball for a strike, 1-1. Now what makes it all the more impressive is we're playing here at Citizens Bank Park, which is, no doubt about it, a hitter's paradise. But a pitcher's duel is broken out.
Not
Loney
anymore.
hits this ball well to right field. It's got a chance. It's gone. 2 straight days with long balls for James Loney. And the Dodgers have a 2-1 lead. And Steve, once again, James Loney gets it done off a left-handed pitcher.
Yeah, you know, he had struggled to have just 1 RBI all season long against lefties until yesterday, where he drove in 4. And this is coming into a left-hander's wheelhouse, down and in. That's right about his right about at his kneecaps. All you have to do is sweep the bat through. It's almost like a 9-iron. We talked about balance before. He had great balance through that swing.
Kemp swings at the first pitch, hits it to right field. Jason Worth makes the first out of the 7th inning.
That's just the first home run all season from the left-handed side that Hamels has given up.
So the Dodgers, their first lead of the game. They trailed 1-0 right out of the chute in the first inning. They got that run back in the 3rd inning. We've been tied 1-1 since the 3rd, but no longer.
You notice when James Loney hit that ball, he didn't put his head down and think that he had missed it. He was pretty sure he got that one.
Chad Durbin getting loose in the bullpen for Philadelphia. Now is now 2-1. Well, James Loney went the first 34 games on the season without a home run, but he's enjoyed playing here in Philadelphia. Home runs last night and today.
Well, James Loney just loves being on the road. I mean, he's hitting a .182 at home at Dodger Stadium. He's hitting, with that home run, basically .375 on the road.
Hard hit ground ball. 2 hops. Pedro Feliz out number 2. Collect the first bobblehead of the season on Wednesday, May 20th, when the Dodgers welcome the Mets, as the first 50,000 fans in attendance will receive a Casey Blake bobblehead. Compliments of Carl's Jr. Secure your bearded bobblehead by calling 866-DODGERS or visit Dodgers.com today.
You know what's great about Dodger promotions? It's not like when they have a promotion, it's not like you got to show up at 1 in the afternoon because they're only giving away 15,000 of them to the first 15,000 youngsters. No, 50,000 bobbleheads are given away. You could show up in the second inning and get one.
Chad Billingsley down in the count 0-2. Hamels pitching with some anger, misses outside with a pass ball, 1-2. A changeup mistake by Cole Hamels, the difference in the game. James Loney pouncing on it, his second home run of the season. And Hamels rears back and fires a 93-mile-an-hour fastball past Billingsley. Side retired, but damage done by James Loney. Loney, his second home run in the last 24 hours. Dodgers ahead of the Phillies, 2-1. Dodger Baseball on Prime Ticket is brought to you by Buy.com, where you'll always find free shipping and discount prices on millions of products. And by Southwest Airlines, low fares with no hidden fees. Book now at Southwest.com, where what you see is what you pay. The pretzel, invented over in Europe centuries ago, but the American soft pretzel is said to originate here in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. You got to get it with mustard. I've had a couple over the last couple of days, and they may have invented the American soft pretzel, but they didn't perfect it. It's
who did?
A little iffy for me. I don't know. I don't know if it has been perfected. It hasn't been as what I thought it would be.
Did you get a cheesesteak while you were here?
Couple.
Well, how'd you like that?
Yeah, it was.
So you liked the cheesesteak, you didn't like the pretzel. Yeah, you cannot be a cheesesteak expert when you fly into Philly and only have 2. I mean, our producer, Brad Zager, usually has 5 while we're here.
Raul Ibanez grounds out to the first baseman, James Loney. 1 out, bottom of the 7th inning.
Can you imagine pounding down 5 of those things in a 3-day stretch?
Brad Zager, 5?
Yeah, 5. He weighs like $120. I don't know where he puts it all.
I didn't have a hoagie either. But I know what a hoagie is. There you get the cheesesteaks. Tony Luke's. You got Jim's, you got Pat's, you got Gino's. Those are just some of the places you can get cheesesteaks.
And it's funny because in this town, when they say we're going to go get a steak, they're not saying let's go down to Morton's. You know what they're talking about.
You ever been to Bull's Barbecue here in the ballpark?
I have not.
Greg Luzinski.
Come on, one of the great reasons to come to Philly is the ice cream in the press dining. And Frank, the guy that serves it up, I mean, he should be everybody's dad. This is the nicest dude in the world. And you know what he'll do? He'll let you try anything. He gives you about 6 spoons full of a different flavor.
You think it'll still be open after the game? I
no,
haven't had
unfortunately, no.
I haven't had it in the first 3 days we've been here.
Maybe you should eat before the game.
The Grand Slam. That's what everyone was talking about before the game yesterday.
Moose Tracks, that's the favorite. There was some peppermint stick today that was, I had peppermint stick at the bottom of my cup, and moose, we call it moose droppings, Moose Tracks on top. That way when I got to the bottom and I was eating my peppermint stick, I felt like I had brushed my teeth after lunch.
I'm pretty sure there's some regulation somewhere that says you can't have peppermint ice cream if it's not the month of December. On the ground for call, ranging far to his left, makes the play. 2 down here in the 7th inning.
Boy, that is the Rafi Furcal that we've come to know and love. He's had a couple strange defensive days. Here's the best part I like about this play. After the throw, and they make the play, Orlando Hudson goes over and gives him a nice fist pump. Boy, when a guy like Orlando Hudson comes over and gives you a fist pump because of the defensive play that you just made, you know it was a good one. Because he can pick and grin out there.
2 down, bases clear. Billingsley has been money this time through the lineup.
Well, I just love the way that he settled into his game after a couple innings, 2.5 innings when he wasn't hitting his spots, and we showed you examples of where he wasn't commanding the strike zone. He has settled down and worked his way through any issue that he had and has pitched a stellar game.
Ruiz fouls at third base side. Bottom of the 5th inning, the 8th man, Carlos Ruiz, was walked by Billingsley. Hamels tried to lay down a bunt. Billingsley made an error. Since then, Billingsley has retired 7 in a row, 4 of them via the strikeout. Now it's now 2-1. Still throwing 95-mile-an-hour gas. I wonder how much longer Joe Torre will keep him in.
As long as he keeps getting guys out.
Three and 1. It looks like, should Ruiz get on, we will not see Cole Hamels. Cole Hamels' spot in the lineup is next. Greg Dobbs has grabbed a bat. He is more than likely going to pinch hit should Ruiz get on.
Now, this is the problem in the National League when you're pitching a good game, but it's a close score. The pitcher spot comes up and you're talking bottom of the 7th inning and you're getting beat 2-1. You go to a pinch hitter like a guy like Dobbs to try to figure out a way to scratch out a run, and even though you're pitching well, you're out of there.
If Ruiz makes it out here, does Hamels still stay in the game?
I think that's where you have the tough decision. If he makes it out here, I think Hamels definitely goes back out. Obviously that'll be the 3rd out of the inning.
Cole Hamels has thrown 110 pitches,
which would be by far his longest outing so far this season. But you know, I think we're into the point of the season where you stop saying, oh, it's early.
No, we're not going to find out. Billingsley loses Ruiz. Ruiz draws the 2-out walk, and we will have a pinch hitter for Cole Hamels as Corey Wade gets loose just in case. And we were deked. We saw Greg Dobbs in the on-deck circle, but it won't be Greg Dobbs. Instead, it's the hard-hitting Canadian Matt Stairs.
Not exactly sure what the point of that was. I mean, obviously, if you're looking for big-time pop and you want to look for a 2-run homer, and the only chance that Stairs has to come to the plate is if Ruiz gets on, why don't you just send him out into the on-deck circle anyway? If he didn't get on, it would have been the 3rd out of the inning, and it wouldn't have mattered who was standing there.
So Matty Stairs was announced as a pinch hitter yesterday and actually never made it to the plate. He was announced and then replaced in the 9th inning by Eric Bruntlett. This time he'll get a chance to get his hacks. Takes a breaking ball, strike 1.
Now there's the breaking ball. Matt Stairs is looking dead red. Anything this side of the plate, he's going to swing at. So you got to make sure you got to keep the ball middle away from him. Everything over here or anything that has a break or a little wrinkle to it. Matty Stairs has admitted, I look for one pitch and I look to hit it into the right field seats. Another breaking ball. That's an outstanding first 2 pitches to Matt Stairs. Now you got the shift on for him as well, because as we talked about, he's not looking to go up and flip one into left field.
The 0-2 spins around the plate. 1-2.
He's got 3 more pitches to throw on the outer half. One of the things that Matt Stairs has done throughout his career here is he's adjusted his swing too. He comes around the ball. His bat does not generally go directly to the ball because he wants to hook everything. So he comes out and around everything. So even if you throw him a ball away, he can hook it.
All tips it at home plate to stay alive.
The 120th pitch of the game for Billingsley right here. I wouldn't mind seeing him throw a high fastball up in this area, because I don't know that Stairs could get to that one. That's a little too high. And you watch how long Billingsley's starting to take in between pitches, walking around the mound, his gloves off, wiping the sweat off. He is about done. One more pitch to finish it off.
Hard on the ground, foul. And it looked easy getting first 2 strikes on Matt Stairs. Getting the third one, maybe not so easy. Now this is uncharted waters for Chad Billingsley. 121 throw pitches so far today. That is a new career high. His previous tops was 118. Looking for the strikeout.
Wow. Even Philly fans thought that one might be close enough to be called a strike. You got to think that this is probably his last hitter, no matter what happens. He was a victim of his own movement right there. He put it on the outer half of the plate, and the tailing action of the fastball ran it off of the plate.
Now James Loney comes in and whispers in Chad Billingsley's ear that he will not be holding Ruiz on at first. Instead, he'll stay behind the catcher. As it's 3-2, Ruiz will be off with the pitch. Yapper could tie this game. (3-2). Hard hit ball to center field, but the Dodgers have a man there. Matt Kemp makes the play. Side retired. Nothing but a loud out. Tip of the cap to Chad Billingsley. He goes 7 solid innings. Dodgers have the lead. Through 7 innings, Dodgers on top of the Philadelphia Phillies by a score of 2-1. Alongside Steve Lyons, my name is Eric Collins, and Steve, we were talking about it before the game began. We didn't know what we'd see out of Chad Billingsley. Of course, last year in 2 starts in the postseason against the Phillies, not so good. Well, today, he was very good.
All you ask for from your talented players is for them to continue to get better. And we've seen Chad Billingsley grow up in the big leagues. We saw what happened to him last year in the playoffs. His numbers were bad against this team, an ERA of 18 in 2 starts. After an outstanding year, really, we thought we'd see a different guy today because we knew that he had different weapons and that he was maturing as a pitcher, that he would go in harder against the left-handed hitters. Those were the guys that gave him the most problems last year. He did that today and looked brilliant.
Yeah, and to put it in perspective, we are in a hitter's ballpark. The wind is blowing out today, but Chad giving up just 3 base hits so far, none since the 4th inning, and he's got those 10 strikeouts.
Yeah, and the 10 strikeouts and a career high in number of pitches, and he's got to be sitting on that bench right now feeling very good about his effort.
Chad's going to enjoy his time down in South Florida, get a chance to rest a little bit, some surf and sun.
Hang out on the beach, not even worry about having to pitch.
New pitcher in the game for the Phillies. Ryan Madson delivers to Juan Pierre, and interesting play made by Raul Ibanez down the left field line. Don't know what happened there.
Well, Ibanez got to that ball and realized that he hadn't run far enough over to get it, and he's worried about the wall a little bit. And so then he had to jump up and make the play, or else it would have gone over his head. I think the wind got him a little bit too. The wind blowing hard out to left field. By the time he got there, he realized I better back up a little bit more and catch that ball.
It was almost like a ballet maneuver.
He did it nicely too.
Nice. Ibanez is not an elite outfielder, but he's definitely an upgrade over Pat Burrell, who was the left fielder for the last couple of years here in Philadelphia. All right, with 1 out, Ryan Madson will take on Rafael Furcal. This is the new pitcher, the big right-hander, Ryan Madson, making his 15th appearance of the season. He has more strikeouts than innings pitched so far this year.
Now, this is a guy who they always thought was going to be in the starting rotation when he first came up, and didn't really handle that role very well, and he's been out of the bullpen and just been lights out for this team.
So both Hamels and Billingsley go 7 innings, both with 9 strikeouts, both allowing just 1 earned run. The difference in the game, Dodgers are able to score on an unearned run, an error by Jimmy Rollins back in the 3rd inning. Another chance for Ibanez. He makes it 2 down.
Well, if you like good pitching, you are very satisfied with the way this game has unfolded so far. And now you hand it over to the bullpens, and the Phillies bullpen has been great this year. The Dodgers bullpen, a little shaky at times, but usually when they're set up in a situation that Joe Torre wants them, where you're going to get Corey Wade in the 8th and then Broxton in the 9th, you can't ask for anything better.
Is there anyone who will be upset with the fact that Joe Torre allowed Billingsley to throw 123 pitches?
No, because I think, like I said before, I mean, at what point do you start saying, hey, we're into the season? You know, I can understand your first couple starts and you're just coming out of spring training and your arm's still building arm strength. But, you know, you and I had talked yesterday about the way players are babied these days, throwing 120 pitches anyway. And I don't know if we have to go into the Vic Willis conversation from yesterday again. But at the same time, I mean, 120 pitches is no big deal for a horse like that guy right there.
3 balls and 2 strikes. Orlando Hudson trying to avoid striking out for the 4th time today.
In case you missed it yesterday, Vic Willis started 46 games one season, 1902, and finished 45 of those games through 45 complete games out of 46 starts. One day he just didn't have it.
Two balls and 2 strikes. If this score holds and the Dodgers win, Chad Billingsley would become the first 6-game winner in the National League. Currently 5-1.
If you look back over Billingsley's starts, there's certainly one other start that he should have won that he didn't. But if you look over the course of the season, every starter is going to have games that they should have won that they didn't, and then throw games where they probably should lose, but find a way to get off the hook with their offense scoring a lot of runs, or maybe they get a no decision out of the deal.
Orlando spoils a 3-2 pitch. We'll do it again.
Orlando's had a tough day at the plate for a guy coming in hitting 348 on the season. He's got the hat trick up there today, trying to avoid that golden sombrero. 4 strikeouts in a game.
Hard hit ball.
Put it in your
Utley's
pocket.
not going to have a chance. So Hudson gets himself a base hit, his first of the day. He's now 1 for 4. Russell Martin, Steve Garvey, and Ron Cey invite you to swing for the fences under the lights at Dodger Stadium June 15th. Take batting practice on the field, take photos with the Dodger trio, and get free autographs. Space is limited, so buy now at Dodgers.com/underthelights or call 323-224-2646. Hudson on at first base for Andre Ethier. 1 for 12 so far in the season for Andre. He's in the series for Andre.
Well, he's the one guy in the lineup right now that's really struggling. Came into this game 3 for his last 31. He's 0 for 3 today. That's 3 for 34. This guy is just one of the outstanding hitters in the game. You wouldn't think it would be possible for him to go that long without hitting consistently, but he has faced some tough pitchers here. Cole Hamels certainly today. Now when he comes out of it, it'll be a bullet into the left center field gap, and that'll get him going again.
Two balls, no strikes to Ethier. Hudson always a threat to go at first base. He has not been thrown out as a Dodger. He's 4 for 4 in steal attempts so far this year.
And I think a lot of Dodger fans would be amazed to know that Orlando Hudson's career high in stolen bases is just 11.
That is surprising.
Has excellent first to third speed. He's just never really been a base stealing threat throughout his career. He's run more so far in a Dodger uniform. He certainly has a chance to set his career high in stolen bases.
Ethier fouls it away.
And this is a good time to go. I would think if Hudson is going to run, this is the pitch to do it on.
Madsen with the delay and then finally a throw over to first base. Trying to do anything possible to make sure that Orlando stays close to the bag. Not going. Counts full 3-2. Now I guarantee you he'll be going.
Going on this pitch. I don't know about you, Eric, but I'll tell you what, I generally love to call games that has a lot of runs, you know, 7-6 game, but I had a great time in this ball game today watching the pitching and how it developed and how Billingsley went from a guy who was struggling earlier on, was struggling with his command, and just then dominated a ball game against a guy like Cole Hamels, who's a World Series MVP, and certainly didn't do anything to lose this ball game. It was a lot of fun to talk pitching today and kind of show how each guy went about their business.
There goes Hudson. The ball looped into left field. Ibanez not going to be able to get it. Has to play it on a hop. Hudson on his way to third, and he's safe. Ball gets away. Hudson will have to stay at third, but moving to second goes Ethier. I think they're going to have to give an error to someone on that play.
They have to give an error probably on the throw to Ibanez because it skipped away, and that not necessarily because Orlando Hudson made it to third, but because Andre Ethier moved up to second. Here comes a throw. You'll watch the throw bounce in here. He's trying to get Hudson, but this is an errant throw, and when it hits the runner, certainly not the third baseman's fault. That error will go to Ibanez only because Ethier moves up into second base.
Phillies began the day with just 8 errors in 31 games so far this year, by far the least amount of errors of any team in all of Major League Baseball. But they've committed 2 errors so far today. Ibanez, and back in that third inning, it was Rollins who made an error.
Dodgers have also made 2 errors in this ball game, and it's a good thing on both teams' part that they don't give errors for base running mistakes, because we've seen a ton of those today.
Both the errors for the Dodgers coming in that 5th inning, but they were able to get out of it because of solid pitching from Billingsley. Russell Martin swings at the first pitch, pop up right side. Jason Worth underneath it, staggers a bit, but makes the play. Dodgers miss an opportunity to get some pad in this game. Home half the 8th is next. 2-1 Dodgers. Chad Billingsley was pretty darn good through his 7 innings of work today. 7 innings, 3 hits, just 1 run allowed. He walked 4, he struck out 9, a career high 123 pitches. He is in line, Steve, to get the win, his 6th of the season.
Well, I think simply because he's pitching here on the East Coast and against a team that won the World Series, I think maybe he'll start getting a little more national attention. As we talked about before, his numbers since what it was April of last year, 21-7, maybe 22-7 if he gets the win here today. You certainly have to start talking about Chad Billingsley as one of the elite pitchers in all of baseball now. Dodger fans have known it for a while.
Since April of last year, only Johan Santana and Rich Harden of the Cubs have a better ERA than Chad Billingsley, and that will even go down with his 1 run allowed in 7 innings today. Here's Corey Wade, 10th appearance of the day for the right-hander from Indianapolis.
And the bullpen is going to go to work, and it's huge today. And as we talked about before, it's set up exactly the way Joe Torre wants it to, with Wade and then Broxton for the 9th. But this game is far from over with in this ballpark against this offense. 2-1 right now.
Rollins, Victorino, and Utley. Rollins takes strike 1.
It gets scary when you know that the Philly offense has been so underproductive lately, and you wonder, when is it their turn to break out?
Wade's 1-1. Hit on the ground, right side. Hudson makes a nice play of it. Could have been a difficult ground ball for a lot of defenders, but not for Orlando. Out number 1.
You know, I like the fact that you bring that up, Eric. I mean, watch Orlando Hudson make this play. This is a difficult play, ranging hard to his left. And watch almost how nonchalantly, I think I'll just pick this up. Now I'm going to throw you out. Well, that is grace.
So with 1 out, Shane Victorino grabs the bat and takes strike 1. Victorino 0 for 2 so far today. Did have a sacrifice bunt that led to the only run of the game for the Phillies, that coming back in the first inning. And he's down to the count 0-2. Just in case. Righty and a lefty getting loose. Will Ullman has already pitched in the first 2 games of the series.
I'm surprised Ullman isn't wrapped up in that caution tape.
And the big fella, Jonathan Broxton, who hasn't pitched since Sunday. He's fresh and ready.
I like the different approach here now with Corey Wade against Victorino. When Billingsley was going with the nasty slider down and in right in this area to Victorino, and Wade looks like he's sinking balls to the other side of the plate. And when you're a hitter, then you know, it's like, I don't know how you guys are really trying to attack me.
One-two pitch, high hopper, tough play for Rapp. He's going to have to hurry. In time, 2 outs.
Raffy's arm's so good, when he throws it, he actually slows the runners down. I mean, you see a guy about 3 steps away from first base, and Raffy catches the ball, and then when he lets it go, it's like the guy just stops, and the throw beats him anyway.
All right, now this is interesting, Steve. With 2 outs, bases clear here in the 8th inning, Joe Torre, even though he has Will Ullman, the lefty, up and ready to go, he's going to keep Corey Wade in the game to pitch to Utley. You may wonder why, but Chase Utley this year hitting a lot better against lefties than he is against righties. He's a .361 batter against lefties. So Corey Wade remains in the game. This ball is hit well to right field. Going back is Ethier, and he makes the grab against the fence. Oh, he gave it a ride. But Andre Ethier will say he had it played perfectly. To the 9th we go. 2-1 Dodgers. Top of the 9th inning, Dodgers ahead of the Phillies by 1. Oof, loud out by Chase Utley to end the bottom of the 8th.
And kind of brought back memories for me back in the 1947 World Series, when a play was made on Joe DiMaggio, who never showed any emotion, and he came around second base and then he kicked the dirt, almost like Chase Utley did right there on that deep drive to right field that was caught. Just kind of reminded me of Joe D right there.
Well, the Dodgers may be getting out of town just in time. Chase Utley in 3 games against the Dodgers does not have a hit. He's 0 for 11 in this series. Best chance for a knock was right there when he took Ethier all the way to the wall in right field.
I got Brad Lidge into the game, and you know, this is a move that almost every manager in the big leagues will make in the 9th inning. It's not a save situation, but it's a keep yourself back in the ball game situation right here. You bring in your best pitcher to try to shut things down, to give yourself a chance to maybe pull it out in the 9th inning.
James Loney, Matt Kemp, and Casey Blake, the scheduled 3 here in the 9th inning, looking for some insurance runs. Lidge has still got that good heavy fastball and that split finger pitch. The slider.
Yeah, it's a slider that acts like a split finger. I mean, his, you know, at the end of his career, not necessarily at the end of his career, but Roger Clemens used to throw a Brad Lidge type slider, a slider that broke almost straight down, and that's what we see from Lidge. It's almost unhittable. The only way to hit it is to not swing at it, because a lot of times it doesn't throw it for a strike, so you're better off laying off of it if you can. Lidge has made a career out of guys that can't.
97 miles per hour. 2 balls and 2 strikes. James Loney, a home run his last time up, leading things off in the 7th inning against Cole Hamels. His 2nd home run in as many days. That's the reason why the Dodgers have a 2-1 lead. Shallow pop left field. Rollins makes the play, 1 down. In case you missed it, this is what it looked like for Mr. Loney.
Watch the balance on James Loney and just going down and hitting that ball like it was a 9-iron.
Dodgers need at least 1 hit here in the 9th inning to give them 5 straight games with double-digit hits. But I don't know if that's going to be the headline of this series here at Citizens Bank Park. I think what people should be talking about is the fact that so far, through 2 games and 8 innings, Dodger pitching has only allowed 14 hits for the Phillies. Only 3 of those hits coming today.
Yeah, I mean, this whole series, it's amazing that the Phillies actually won a game in this series so far, and they have a chance to win this one too. But we talked about it a couple times, the starting lineup on their homestand and not just the games.
Off the glove of Ibanez. This is going to be extra bases for Kemp. Maybe he's going to go for 3. The big fella rounding second on his way towards third, and he'll make it standing up. So that'll be the 10th hit of the day for the Dodgers, their 5th straight game in double digits in the hit category.
On the pregame show, a lot of times I always like to talk, if the Dodgers get 10 hits, they'll win games. You talked about their 5th straight game where they have 10 hits. They haven't won all those games. This is a lot of fun to watch the big man run around the bases. Kind of hoping that might squirt away long enough for him to try to go for the inside the park home run.
Steve, we've talked about Raul Ibanez and what a phenomenal player he is for 3 days now, but not 100% sure that was a great defensive play on his part, at least mentally. I don't think he needed to go to.
Yeah, I don't think that he really had a chance to catch that ball, and he kind of caught himself in between, and then you're in trouble. Now you got the infield in to try to make sure that Matt Kemp doesn't score from third base.
They don't give an error on Ibanez. They're just going to call it a straight triple for Matt Kemp. But if he had just played it on a hop, kept the ball in front of him, all you have is a runner on at first, and the infield doesn't have to play in. And
I think you have to take into consideration who's pitching. And a guy like Brad Lidge is out there pitching, and you hit a single to left field, you keep that ball in front of you and keep him on first. You're like, hey, big deal. We have Brad Lidge pitch, and he's probably going to get the next couple of guys out. Now you put him in a position where there's a guy on third, and everyone has to change what they're doing defensively. Infield in.
Casey skies it to center field. This will score a run. Victorino ambles back, makes the play, and Kemp will charge in for the 3rd run of the day for the Dodgers. That could be big. An insurance run in the 9th inning, expanding the lead from 1 to 2.
Well, there's that play that you talked about right there, where it was kind of a half-baked dive. Now he's hustling because he knows he's got to get back to the fence and get that ball back in. That's a lonely feeling when you're an outfielder and you've got your back to the infield, running back to the wall on a ball that you just missed.
So with 2 outs and the bases clear, Xavier Paul will get his first look at Brad Lidge as a big leaguer. Rookie from New Orleans. Been with the team for about a week now. Xavier takes strike 1.
Got his first major league hit on Mother's Day. put the ball in a box and shipped it off to his mom. Said, that ought to be a good Mother's Day gift, don't you think?
Xavier hits this one to left center field. Coming on as Victorino can't make the play. Xavier on his way towards second, and he'll make it with a slide. His first career double.
That's a little bit surprising to me that Victorino didn't dive for this ball. Ibanez came in behind him, so he had protection if he missed it. Watch how close he gets to this ball. This is a ball. You see him pull up a little bit, but obviously he pulled up because he didn't think that he'd be able to make the dive and make that play. Look at the late slide, and, and there's second base. X-Man. Yeah, that thing in second base snuck up on him in a hurry. It was like he forgot where it was.
Maybe the bases a little bit closer together in the big leagues than they were down at AAA.
Could be.
Two outs, runner in scoring position.
He's hoping nobody noticed, and we just told the world.
May let you get away with it down at Albuquerque.
Yeah. He was coming around first, hustling so hard to get to second base. He was worried that a good throw would get him. I think he was really paying attention to the throw coming in and where it was going, but he took one extra step and got a little close to second base before he slid.
Dodgers now with 11 base hits, just 3 for the Phillies. 3 runs on 11 hits, 2 errors for the Dodgers. The Phillies, 1 run, 3 hits, 2 errors as well. This ball is hit to center field. Victorino breaking back, still going back, makes the catch, side retired. But the Dodgers get an insurance run. Triple by Kemp, sacrifice fly by Blake. 3-1 is our score. The bottom of the 9th is next. Dodgers looking for their second straight victory here at Citizens Bank Park. Yesterday they snapped a streak of 7 straight losses here at this facility. Now trying to do it 2 days in a row. Jonathan Broxton comes out of the bullpen. His 15th appearance of the season. Looking for the save. It would be his 9th save. Trying to get the win for Chad Billingsley. Give him win number 6.
Wow, this will be one of the biggest tests that Jonathan Broxton has had all season long. But boy, we flashed his numbers up there, but there's some more numbers that go along with Jonathan's season so far that are just brilliant. 16 innings pitched. He struck out 27 guys. He's walked 4. He's attacking the strike zone like he never has before. I think he's basically figured out, man, I throw 96 miles an hour. Why am I not throwing my fastball more often? He had times in previous seasons where he'd fall in love with that slider, which, by the way, is unhittable when he throws it. But if you throw that slider and get behind and then have to throw the fastball, that makes it a little bit different for the hitters to sit on. But this is going to be a lot of fun watching Jonathan Broxton, one of the biggest power pitchers in the game, going up against the power of the Philadelphia lineup right now.
So Ryan Howard, who has had no success against Jonathan Broxton, grabs the bat. First pitch, breaking ball, 89 miles per hour, strike 1. The first 2 guys in the lineup here to face Broxton. Howard and Worth, a combined 0 for 8 against the big fella with 6 strikeouts.
You know, managers look for situations that come up in the game and wonder when to use their players. All these Philly fans remember, and Dodger fans for that matter, remember the ball that Matt Stairs hit in the playoffs last year off of Jonathan Broxton that went about 4 miles. And maybe Philly fans right now are wishing that Stairs was available for the 9th, but they got him up there with a guy on base and a chance to hit a ball out of the park that would have put them in the lead. You cannot leave your best bullets on the bench when the game's over. Charlie Manuel elected to use him in the 8th inning.
Triple digits for Broxton, 101 miles per hour on that last pitch.
Goodness.
So he went slider, slider, both at 89, and then gas at 101. Ryan Howard's never done it. Told you he's never had a hit against Jonathan Broxton. But if the big fella, if Ryan Howard somehow put bat on the ball with one of his best swings at 100-mile-an-hour Jonathan Broxton pitch, it'd be interesting to see how far it go.
You would have to get in a cab to go find it.
If you ran it down, you'd come back winded.
It'd be a distance runner.
Two-two.
Ooh. And I think Ryan Howard does have the right approach, even though this guy strikes out, as you mentioned, 199 times in back-to-back seasons. You know, good hitters, when they face a guy that throws 100 miles an hour, they don't swing harder. They just try to swing quicker and just take a nice, easy, fluid swing. You know that the pitcher's power will give you your power at the plate. That was a nice, easy swing by Howard.
Got him. Got him to chase up in the zone. Out number one here in the 9th inning.
This is just a slider right there that stays up a little bit, but Howard can't get on it. Huge first out of that inning. As long as Jonathan Broxton doesn't put somebody on base, he can afford a mistake.
Now Jason Worth, the batter.
You know, you put Jason Worth on and you make a mistake to the next hitter in the lineup, all of a sudden it's a tie ball game. You make a mistake to someone who's with nobody on, you're still ahead 3-2 if they hit the ball out of the park.
He's been fairly consistent. If he's not throwing that slider at 89, it's the gas at 101.
Oh, one of the most impressive pitching performances I ever saw was in the playoffs with Josh Beckett in 03 when he was throwing for the Marlins. He was throwing 98-mile-an-hour fastballs. His slider was at 92. His changeup was 90 miles an hour. Oof. And it's pretty impressive to watch the big man throw here.
Dodgers had lost 7 straight in this ballpark until yesterday's 9-2 win. Randy Wolf got the W. Solid starting performance for him. Now the Dodgers trying to do it 2 straight days.
Ooh.
102 with the fastball. 2 outs.
I think you just have to watch this pitch again. Just to marvel at it. Goodness. Now if you slow it down, you can't hit that pitch even in slow motion.
I'll be honest with you, I can't tell. Is there movement on that fastball or does it not even need it?
His fastball is generally fairly straight, but when you're pumping it up there at 102, good luck trying to find it.
Raul Ibanez takes strike 1. Man. Yeah, Philly fans, I think they've seen enough. If they had white flags, they'd be waving them right now. Ball and a strike. After the game, the Dodgers will head down to Miami. 3 games against the Marlins, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. Then come home to take on the Mets and the Angels. Important stretch of games for the Dodgers. That ball is rifled into the gap in right center field. Possible extra bases for Ibanez. He won't test the arm of Matt Kemp.
Well, welcome to the big leagues, Raul Ibanez. I think at least Dodger fans in this series understand what kind of player that guy is. Been doing it for a lot of years now. in relative obscurity, now playing for the former world champions on the East Coast. A lot more people getting a chance to watch him play. That's a special player right there.
So now we'll see Greg Dobbs come on and pinch hit for Pedro Feliz. He actually came on in the 7th inning, was in the on-deck circle. It looked like we may see him, but instead of Dobbs pinch hitting, it was actually Matt Stairs coming on to pinch hit. Charlie Manuel pulling the old switcheroo, and now we'll see Greg Dobbs swing the bat.
Well, Dobbs is a guy that is known to be able to hit a pretty good fastball, but he's had not very good luck so far pinch hitting. He's made more pinch hit appearances than any other Philly, but he's only 3 for 20 doing that job.
Loney playing behind Ibanez, and the Dodgers are going to let Ibanez scamper over to second base. Outside 2-0.
Broxton's got to reel it in just a little bit now and attack that strike zone. You know, one of the biggest differences that I've seen in him between last year and this year is that he throws far fewer pitches because he's going after hitters way more. Not trying to be so fine, not trying to pick at the corners, just saying, let's go.
Broxton the 2-0. Fouled out of play. Now, why is it so important to get Greg Dobbs here? The man in the on-deck circle, Carlos Ruiz, hasn't been retired by Dodger pitching since Tuesday. He was on base all 4 times yesterday, a couple of doubles. On base all 3 times so far today. 7 consecutive times he's gone to the plate. 7 consecutive times he's reached base safely against Dodger pitching.
And if he does reach the plate, that means that Dobbs will be on base as the tying run, and Ruiz doesn't have to hit the ball out of the park in order to score him. Ooh.
A little bit below the knees. 3-1.
That's a pitch that Jeff Nelson's been calling a strike all day long, and I bet he's hearing it a little bit from Russell Martin right now, saying, hey, what happened? This has been a strike for us all day long. Look at him framing it, holding it.
Dobbs.
Just got a little bit out of whack there where he started letting that front shoulder fly out a little bit, and that put a little more tail on his fastball. He just started kind of leaving everything to the outer part of the plate.
So after getting the first 2 guys out, Howard and Worth both strikeout victims against Jonathan Broxton. Dodgers running into a bit of a problem here, and Joe Torre's going to come and talk things over. Is this a scouting report talk? Is this a how are you doing talk? Or is this a motivational speech?
Joe Torre going to come out and look at him and say, how you doing? And Broxton's going to say, I'm fine. He said, he's going to say, all right, I think get this guy out. And he'd turn around and walk away. It's not a whole lot of pep talk going on. It's certainly not a mechanics. I think it's just a, it's like your dad showing up when you're doing your homework saying, are you going to get it done? Yeah, I'm going to get it done. All right, get it done, and then leave.
So Ruiz, who's reached base safely 7 straight times over the last 2 days, a chance to be a hero.
The Dodger outfielders have to play significantly deeper than they normally would, because this is a situation where you don't want Dobbs scoring from first base on any ball hit. So you back up to make sure that any ball that gets into the gap, you can make sure you get it back into the infield before Dobbs can score. That ties the ball game.
Quickly ahead of Ruiz, 0-2. Broxton and the Dodgers with a little bit of wiggle room because of that insurance run they were able to plate in the top of the 9th inning. 1 strike away from taking the series from the Phillies.
Stick with the fastball. That may go slider down and away.
102 miles per hour. Fouled back behind the screen.
One of the more impressive things for Jonathan Broxton this year too is that he's been throwing far fewer pitches in his save opportunities, but he has thrown 21 pitches in this inning so far. I think Joe Torre likes it when he throws about 12 or 13 and everyone shakes hands and goes home.
Oh-2 pitch. Breaking ball fouled away.
Well, I have no idea how Ruiz gets a bat on that breaking ball. That's not Broxton's sharpest breaking ball. It was left out over the middle of the plate. But when you're gunning fastballs up there at 102, how do you make the adjustment to stay back far enough to get a piece of that breaking ball? I think he's going to go back to the good old country fastball.
Again, the 0-2. Hit well, right center field. It's going to get down all the way to the wall. Ibanez scores. Dobbs being waved around. There'll be no throw, and we're tied at 3.
Well, this is one of the reasons why the outfielders play so deep to try to guard against this. I'm not sure if they're not playing deep enough or the fact that when this ball hits the fence, it doesn't kick back out. You see, Andre Ethier has to run in to get it to be able to get that ball back into the infield. And like you were talking about before, Eric, they still haven't got Ruiz out. And Brundtland's got a chance to win this ball game.
Carlos Ruiz, the number 8 hitter in the lineup the last 3 days, has not been retired in the last 2. 8 consecutive times he's reached base safely against Dodger pitching. He earned his meal money today. He was down in that count 0-2, fouled off a couple of pitches, and then hit a bullet to the gap in right center. So with 1 swing of the bat, no chance for Chad Billingsley to get his NL leading 6th win of the season. And now a chance for Philadelphia to win with a single. Eric Brundtland will pinch hit. This just the 2nd blown save of the season for Broxton. The only other blown save coming back on April 29th, a game against the Giants up in San Francisco.
Jonathan just really lost command of his fastball there after he got 2 quick outs.
Oh, 2 to Brundtland. Broxton retired Howard on the strikeout. Worth on the strikeout swinging. With 2 outs, bases clear, it was an Ibanez single, a Dobbs walk, and then Carlos Ruiz, a 2-run double to tie this game at 3. Cardi on that 99-mile-an-hour fastball, side retired. But Jonathan Broxton, his second blown save of the season. Carlos Ruiz, the reason why. We're tied at 3. The 10th is next. Roller coaster bottom of the 9th inning for Jonathan Broxton. Retired the first 2 Phillies he faced, and then allowed 3 consecutive men to reach base safely. A 2-run double by Carlos Ruiz ties this game at 3. And despite the fact that the Phillies have just 5 hits as opposed to the Dodgers 11, both teams the exact same amount of runs and will play extra baseball. 27 pitches needed by Broxton to get out of that 9th inning. And we'll have a new pitcher coming on for the Phillies here in the 10th. It's Chad Durbin.
Chad Durbin, you look at his numbers, pretty good out of this bullpen, making a lot of appearances again. This is a guy last year that was in 71 games for the Phillies, which was more than twice as many appearances as he ever made in his career before that. And now, I believe this is his 18th appearance of this season. Actually, his 15th appearance of this season. So he's well on his way to showing up in about 70 or 75 games again. There's Eric Bruntlett taking over at third base.
For Call, Hudson, and Ethier to bat against Durbin here in the 10th inning.
Well, you're really talking about the top of the order, so just do the things that the top of the order does. Take pitches, find a way to get on base, start it over again.
2 balls, no strikes. Hard hit ground ball. Rollins throws out for a call. Dodgers were hoping to hop on the plane and head down to Miami, Florida. Get ready for their weekend series with the Marlins. But the plane will still be waiting there. Dodgers need to get something going here. They were able to score a run in the 3rd inning, a run in the 7th. They thought they had enough insurance with a run in the 9th inning, but it turned out to not be enough. So we're still playing baseball here at Citizens Bank Park. Good breaking ball, 0-2. Ball and 2 strikes. Dodgers still the best record in all of baseball. 23 wins, just 12 losses. Joe Torre's team in first place by 4 games. San Francisco a loss yesterday, and that coupled with the Dodger win expanded the lead back up to 4 as Orlando Hudson strikes out for the 4th time today. Well, if you're traveling and can't watch your Dodgers on Prime Ticket, you can always catch the game on your computer with MLB.tv. The ultimate baseball experience featuring 100 out-of-market games per week live on your computer. And catch those games you missed on demand. For more details, visit Dodgers.com, where baseball is always on. Ethier takes a called strike.
Well, Andre Ethier might be feeling a little bit better. We said that he'd get off the schneid by hitting a bullet into the left center field gap, but he dumped one into left field. Maybe that gets him going.
Ramon Troncoso getting loose in the bullpen. Does that mean that Jonathan Broxton is out for the bottom of the 10th?
I got to think so. He threw a lot of pitches in that last inning, and if you, it's not that you're not worried about this ball game, but you got to have him ready for tomorrow's ball game too. He kind of did the job that you asked him to do, although the results weren't good. You got to move on.
Durbin the 2-2. 3-2. The team the Dodgers will play tomorrow, the Florida Marlins, already a loser today. They lost against Milwaukee. The game being played up in Wisconsin, so both the Marlins and the Dodgers will be in transit later today to get to their series over the weekend at the newly named Landshark Stadium.
Candygram.
Ethier on with the walk with 2 outs.
Landshark Stadium, huh?
Yeah, that ballpark's been a number of different things. Pro player.
It's Joe Robbie to me.
Joe Robbie. Dolphin Stadium. Landshark Stadium. 2 outs, runner on at first. Russell Martin, the batter. Russell's had some success today against Philly pitching. A couple of base hits his first 2 times up. Walked back in the 6th inning and flew out to right field in the 8th. In all of the even numbered innings, Russell Martin has batted so far today. The 2nd, the 4th, the 6th, the 8th, and now the 10th.
Doesn't happen that way very often, does it?
That's kind of odd.
Well,
ball hit well to the gap in right center field. It's going to get down. It's going to go to the wall. Here comes Ethier steaming around third. There will be no throw. Russell Martin getting it done here in the 10th.
Well, we've seen this same play happen in consecutive innings where a defensive outfield should be playing deep enough where you can't score on a ball like that. But there is a lot of room to cover in this outfield. But, you know, no doubles means no doubles. You got to play deep enough where you can get to a ball and get it back into the infield before a runner can score from first base. Victorino had a tough time out there picking it up. He kicked it around a little bit. It's a big hit for Russell Martin.
And now James Loney will be intentionally walked so Durbin can get to Matt Kemp. This is almost the exact same thing that we saw in the bottom of the 9th inning. Yep. Broxton retired Howard and Worth. 2 quick outs in the bottom of the 9th inning. And then a couple of base runners get on, and then a double into the right center field gap, scores a pair. Same thing for the Dodgers. 2 quick outs. Ethier gets on with a walk, and then a double into right center field to give the Dodgers the lead.
Good thing about that double for Russell Martin is that he'd only had 2 extra base hits in his last 23 games, so he adds a double in the gap there. So you see a little more power coming out of Russell Martin. You've seen back-to-back games with home runs out of James Loney for his only 2 of the season. So some of the guys that hadn't been driving the ball all that well are starting to come alive, and it's a good sign for the Dodgers to come right back and throw a crooked number up there on the scoreboard after giving up 2 in the 9th.
Rich Doobie talking things over with his pitcher, Chad Durbin. Matt Kemp, part of that insurance run situation, top of the 9th inning, and he tripled and eventually came around to score on the sacrifice fly from Casey Blake. Another situation where the Dodgers would love to get some insurance here in the 10th. Russell Martin on at second, James Loney on at first.
Now, I don't think Matt Kemp is any too happy to see a guy get walked in front of him. It's almost like, wait a minute. Matt Kemp certainly has the potential to drive the ball out of this ballpark. Only 4 home runs so far this season. Every one of them have been off of a right-handed hitter, or right-handed pitcher, excuse me. I think he gets a little more locked in if you walk a guy intentionally right in front of him. It's almost disrespect.
Do all big league hitters think that way? Because obviously they were trying to get to the right-handed hitter with the right-hander Durbin on the hill. They didn't want to pitch to the lefty Loney.
I think that it gives you an edge if you do think that way, regardless of the situation. You get
this ball, a screamer to left field, off the wall. Martin scores. Loney being held at third. Another double for the Dodgers and insurance here in the 10th inning. Matt Kemp doesn't like to be disrespected.
No, he doesn't. I mean, That's the kind of situation that you're looking for. You almost could see it in his eyes, a little more concentration, a little more bitterness. He went down and got that one. Generally, you look at right-handed hitters as more high ball hitters, left-handed hitters, low ball hitters. But Matt Kemp just dropped the bat head right on that one and smoked it into left field.
I don't want to say it, but if this game continues, Matt Kemp has got a chance to hit for the cycle. He's got a single, a double, and a triple now.
Unless we're talking about batting around again in this inning, most Dodger fans would just assume Matt Kemp not come to the plate again.
If you were guaranteed a Matt Kemp cycle, you think Dodger fans would tolerate a couple more innings?
Yes.
History's history.
I think Dodger fans, like to get wins as quickly as possible so that they can get on a plane and go to Miami.
All of this damage being done with 2 outs. Casey Blake takes high and inside.
Because I know there's a lot of Dodger fans that are sitting in LA right now waiting for the conclusion of this game so that they can show up in Miami and cheer the Dodgers on for the next series down there. I'm just thinking of them.
We were told at the beginning of the game there was about a 4-hour window of good weather here in Philadelphia. Between 1 and 5 o'clock local time was supposed to be just idyllic for baseball. It is getting a little darker around here.
Yeah, a little hazier. It's a little tougher to see the city in the background there. It rained part of the early morning hours and into the first part of the morning today, and then kind of cleared up, and it's been nice. You can't ask for much better weather than we've seen here in Philadelphia since we've been here, and they haven't had that for all the series that have been played here. Mets came into town. It was bad weather. A couple other series they've struggled through the early part of this season with bad weather here in Philadelphia. We didn't see that.
Swing and a miss. Casey Blake is fooled side retired, but damage done. Matt Kemp, Russell Martin with RBIs. Dodgers trying to hold him, head down to Miami. Bottom of the 10th inning here at Citizens Bank Park. Dodgers playing a little longer than they thought they would have to, but still a good chance to get win number 24 on the season. A 2-run lead with 3 outs to go. Ramon Troncoso comes on to replace Jonathan Broxton. Troncoso, the 4th pitcher of the day for the Dodgers.
Well, luckily for Joe Torre and the Dodgers, considering that Billingsley went deeper into the ball game, and basically the bullpen set up the way Joe Torre wanted it, and obviously he wanted Broxton to finish it, but because of that, Troncoso's still available. Troncoso's been very capable of doing the job that Joe's asked him to do when he came in there. Billingsley went 5 innings. You would have seen Troncoso in this game long ago, and he would not be available in this situation to come in here and shut things down.
That's not going to be an easy save situation for Troncoso. He'll have to take on the top third of the lineup for the Phillies. Rollins, Victorino, and Utley. Those guys are due. Combine the top third of the lineup for the Phillies with just 1 hit so far today.
That's a common theme for this homestand. If you're a Phillies fan and you've been hanging around this homestand even before the Dodgers came to town, you saw a lot of struggling going on from the Philly offense. And yet, still certainly very much in this ball game and won the first game of the series.
First pitch here in the 10th inning, strike 1, 94-mile-an-hour fastball at the knees.
And James Loney, we talked about the fact that he's hit 2 home runs now in less than 24 hours, back-to-back ball games. The Phillies pitching staff is on pace to allow more home runs per 9 innings than any team in history at this point. Obviously, things may change as the season goes on.
2 Hopper, Hudson over to Loney, 1 out.
They allow about 1.84 home runs per game, and that's more than anybody Long way to go, though.
I think I just heard a couple boos. Is that possible? World Series champs just came back, 2 runs in the 9th inning.
It is Philadelphia.
They boo Santa Claus here. Shane Victorino.
I think you look back in this ball game too. Rollins has been struggling. He booted that ball earlier in the ball game that gave the Dodgers a run. That was a difference in the ball game for Cole Hamels earlier on.
On the ground again, 2-hopper to Hudson.
Might hear some more boos. And Victorino, one for his last 27 now.
Not much better is the man coming to the plate. Chase Utley has not had a base hit so far in this series. He is 0 for 11. It looked like Chad Billingsley was going to get his National League leading 6th win today. The bullpen couldn't hold it. And now Jonathan Broxton looks like he's got a good chance of getting what in baseball is called a vulture.
His 4th win of the year.
Would be a vulture.
That would be a vulture. Broxton came into this game 3-0. If you're looking for Billingsley to have his league-leading 6th victory, Broxton's probably, number 5 on the list with 4.
Broxton has been magnificent so far this season, but today, tough time getting out number 3 in the bottom of the 9th inning.
Broxton has picked up a couple of those wins by being used the same way that Brad Lidge was used today. You're brought into a tie game. You hold the other team down, and then your team comes in and gets enough points to win the game.
Phillies down to their last strike. We've seen this before.
How about Troncoso coming in and doing a job?
Does that hit Utley? It does. 1-2 pitch raises the ankle. And life still for the Phils.
Well, now anything but that. Let him hit his way on somehow. He had 2 strikes on the guy.
And look who's coming to the plate now.
The thing that worries me about Ryan Howard is that it seems to me on a lot of his strikeouts has been swinging underneath the ball. His bat going under the ball. And with Troncoso throwing a lot of sinkers, his ball might sink into the barrel of his bat.
Called strike 1 to Howard.
Pretty much given Utley second base, and he doesn't want to take it.
There goes Utley. It's a called strike, 1-2. Troncoso steps off the rubber. And Russell Martin wants to chat. Dodgers 9-9 away from Dodger Stadium. Looking for their 24th win of the season.
Look how far away Howard stands from the plate.
Swing and a miss, got him. It took a while, but the Dodgers get the win. They take the series from Philadelphia. Final score 5-3. The Dodgers win it in 10. Impressive performance. Ramon Troncoso comes up out of the bullpen, bails out Jonathan Broxton, gets himself a save, and the Dodgers now with 24 wins against just 12 losses. Now it took an extra 3 outs, but the Dodgers pick up the victory over the Philadelphia Phillies. This is the rubber game of the 3-game series. The Dodgers win 5-3. Time now for our Jaguar performer.
Yeah, that's Chad Billingsley for today's ball game. Who else could it be? Just doing an outstanding job of regaining his control of the strike zone and then dominating the game the way he generally does. Hard sliders down and into the left-handed hitters. Wow. Dropped down on that pitch right there.
Check out the new R Performance vehicles at your local Jaguar dealer or on JaguarUSA.com. And sure hope you enjoyed it as much as we did. Dodgers time to Philadelphia. Productive. They win 2 out of 3.
Talked about the next 4 series against teams with winning records. They take this series from the first team of the next 4.
Dodgers heading down to South Florida. They'll take on the Marlins for 3 over the weekend. That'll do it from Philadelphia. For my partner Steve Lyons and our entire crew, my name is Eric King. Collins saying so long from now. Dodgers a winner on Thursday.